Chapter 1421. As that huge icy demonic flame sword slowly sank into the soil, cold chi spread deep into the ground. Layer by layer, the soil froze into ice. The plain turned into frozen soil, spreading for 5,000 kilometers around. The white-clad snow demon intended to kill Xiao Chen and did not hold back at all. He stood on the hilt of that huge ice sword with a frosty expression, showing no emotion at all. The Blood Shadow Sovereign and the Iron Demon each guarded a direction with grave expressions. They did not dare to relax, keeping their guard up against Xiao Chen breaking out of the ground at any time. Although the soil was already frozen and the cold chi was startling, the chances of Xiao Chen breaking out of the ground were slim. However, the two did not relax at all. Even a lion would use its full power when hunting a rabbit. Even though these 3/8 Heaven Emperor Wu held a huge advantage, they were not arrogant at all. It had to be said that the older the ginger, the spicier it was. Their mental state was far from what the younger generation Emperor Wu could compare to. Deep underground, in the war chariot, Xiao Chen's entire body was covered in a layer of frost. His lips were frighteningly pale. A scarlet bloodstain on his frost-covered lips was exceptionally eye-catching. This injury came from the 8th Heaven Emperor Wu's Iron Demon descending from the sky and injuring him. Xiao Chen had already experienced the strength of the Iron Demon once before. This time, it was truly an unintentional fight against an intentional one. Unexpectedly, the other party thought so highly of him, actually sending 3/8 Heaven Emperor Wu emperors. What was even more serious was the cold chi in his body. That white-clad snow demon was a sovereign martial emperor who comprehended the ice domain. Since the Shadowless Saber Sovereign made his debut as the Shadowless Saber Sovereign, this was the greatest danger he encountered. It would not be an exaggeration to say that his life was hanging by a thread. What should I do? Many plans flashed in Xiao Chen's mind, but they were quickly rejected. At this critical moment, Xiao Chen's thoughts moved like lightning, remaining calm and unperturbed. Xiao Chen closed his eyes and quickly thought, I have to get out first. Otherwise, if I remain trapped here, I will die for sure. However, the cold chi in the surroundings made the frozen ground as hard as steel, like a cage. Suddenly, Xiao Chen thought of an idea. He opened his eyes, and a bright light flashed in them. A clump of flame appeared in his palm, the heavenly snow divine flame. On the ground, Taimo smiled and said, It looks like he won't be able to come out. This is great. He died a very sullen death. The Blood Shadow Sovereign also heaved a sigh of relief. If the Shadowless Saber Sovereign could charge out, he would have done so long ago. The cold air was getting colder and colder, and the frozen ground was so hard that it gave him a headache. He had already missed the best chance to get out. However, all this was within the plan. The Iron Demon's punch descending from the sky was the start of killing the Shadowless Saber Sovereign. Where did the water come from? While Taimo's eyes were darting around, he noticed something sticky under his feet. Upon closer inspection, he discovered that it was actually water. He was baffled. Water? The Blood Shadow King's expression changed drastically. How could there be water? His old friend, Bing Ling, was one of the top 10 existences of the snow demon race. The frozen ground that he froze with cold chi actually melted and produced water? On the ice sword, the white-clad snow demon did not believe it at all. That's impossible. Who can dissolve my cold chi? That Shadowless Saber Sovereign does not cultivate the fire Dao. Boom! Before the white-clad snow demon finished speaking, there was a loud sound. With the ice sword as the center, the surrounding 5,000 kilometers exploded. The icy demonic flame sword broke into countless pieces, and the ice demonic flame gathered in the white-clad snow demon's palm. The white-clad snow demon waved his long sleeves, and the ice fragments containing saber intent were swept aside. When the dust settled and the ice melted, a throne appeared before the three. The masked Shadowless Saber Sovereigns sat on the throne. Die! A murderous intent flashed in the white-clad snow demon's eyes. The icy demonic flame in his hand changed continuously, materializing a black deep abyss demonic beast that looked like a ferocious dog. Then, it roared and charged at Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen waved his hand, and the heavenly snow divine flame shot out like a flash of cold light. Then, something strange happened. The heavenly snow divine flame instantly burned the black deep abyss demonic beast, revealing the icy demonic flame's origin flame. It struggled continuously, trying to escape the heavenly snow divine flame's torture. On the other side, the Iron Demons and the Blood Shadow Sovereign's attacks instantly arrived. The Blood Shadow Sovereign held up his scarlet sword and thrust it out. It was even faster than Graceful Feather, and sword intent surged. The surrounding heavens and earth buzzed under the influence of this sword intent. The entire world was trembling, and this was just the might of a single sword. On the throne, Shao Chun remained calm. The lunar true flame and the solar true flame shot out of his eyes. He extended a finger with his left hand, and the Taiji Yin-Yang flame diagram appeared from nowhere, blocking this sword strike. As Shao Chun drew the Taiji Yin-Yang flame diagram, his right hand did not remain idle, either. He ferociously slapped the black dragon armrest. The 7 divine weapons unsheathed at the same time and flew into the sky. Dang! Dang! The 7 divine weapons knocked back the Iron Demon, who was sneak attacking from the sky. When the Iron Demon landed, it blasted a huge pit in the ground, kicking up a cloud of dust. All this happened in one breath of time. The attacks of the 3 sovereign personages and Emperor Wu were all lethal, filled with killing intent. Any one of them would cause one's body to perish and lose their life. But in the end, Shao Chun blocked all of them. The mountains will not change, and the rivers will flow forever. We will meet again. I will return everything that happened today sooner or later. Shao Chun said expressionlessly. With a shio sound, the throne split into 3 and flew into the distance. The Iron Demon got up from the pit. When he saw the throne split into 3, he felt dazzled. He asked in a daze, "How did it become 3? Damn it, he got away." The Blood Shadow Monarch gnashed his teeth and said resentfully. The white-clad snow demon withdrew his ice flame, feeling some lingering fear in his heart. He now knew how the shadowless Saber Sovereign had broken his ice domain. The flame in his hand is a mysterious flame that is even stronger than the eternal ice. If I'm not wrong, it should be a primal chaos-level flame. Greed flashed across the white-clad snow devil's eyes as he analyzed calmly. The Blood Shadow King said, "What should we do now?" He will definitely be more cautious later on. With the speed of that throne, it will be very difficult to catch him. The opportunity is right before us. The white-clad snow demon said sullenly, "He is already an arrow at the end of its flight. My cold chi is no joke." That big fellow's punch was not light either. Earlier he received 3 moves from us. While he looked relaxed, it should be his final trump card. As the Blood Shadow King listened to the white-clad snow demon's analysis, his eyes grew increasingly brighter. He said, "Good, let's split up and give chase." "Which direction should I go?" the big Iron Demon asked somewhat confusedly. The Blood Shadow King closed his eyes and sensed. Then he pointed in the most unlikely direction and said, "You chase in that direction, then." The direction was straight ahead. If Shao Chun really went in that direction, he was too bold. Great. After finding a direction, the Iron Demon rejoiced, not caring about anything else as he directly gave chase. However, the Blood Shadow King and the white-clad snow demon seemed to have a tacit understanding and did not move. It was like they were not in a rush to give chase. Who knew what they were thinking? After a moment of silence, the white-clad snow demon took out an oath stone. Then he looked at the Blood Shadow King and said, "Let's swear to each other that no matter who catches up to the shadowless Saber Sovereign, we cannot kill him. We have to wait for you and me to meet up before we can split all the treasures on him." The Blood Shadow King smiled sinisterly and said, "That suits me." After the 2 swore, they chased after the shadowless Saber Sovereign at lightning-fast speed. Instantly, they overtook the big Iron Demon, who had set off first, shocking the other party. After chasing for 1 day and 1 night, the Blood Shadow King, who had the fastest movement technique, caught up to the shadowless Saber Sovereign and his throne first. In the end, when the Blood Shadow King casually thrust his sword over, the throne and the shadowless Saber Sovereign turned into ice shards filling the air and scattering the ground. The Blood Shadow King's excited face immediately sank. He knew that he had been tricked. The shadowless Saber Sovereign's true body should be in the direction that the white-clad snow demon was chasing. As for the direction of the big iron demon, the Blood Shadow King did not hold much hope. However, the results exceeded his expectations. After half a day, the white-clad snow demon also caught up to his target. In the end, it was also a fake clone. After the sky turned dark, the two met up. When they saw each other's disappointed expression, they knew the result without needing to say anything. In the end, we ended up letting this fellow off easy. If only he had used the Oath Stone as well. The white-clad snow demon said regretfully. Of course, the person the white-clad snow demon was referring to was the big iron demon. However, the Blood Shadow King did not hold much hope. Even if the iron demon could catch up, it would be hard for him to keep the shadowless Saber Sovereign here. In the end, the shadowless Saber Sovereign still managed to escape. There would not be such an opportunity again. Chapter 1422. Suddenly, a strange ice sculpture appeared in the vast, desolate plain. It would be hard for it not to attract attention. This group of cultivators from the Haotian sect came from the main sect. Their destination was the chaotic dragon burial mound. The leader of this group was the Battle Realm's Situ Gang. In the past, he had a grudge with Shao Chen in the Haotian sect. Senior Brother Situ, what should we do with this ice sculpture? The group of Haotian sect disciples surrounding the ice sculpture did not know what to do. Without even looking closely, they could feel the extraordinary aura of the ice sculpture from a distance. Now that the savage battlefield is in chaos, this ice sculpture might be a treasure from the ancient era. Or perhaps it is the corpse of an ancient powerhouse sealed in ice for some reason. That is very possible. I don't even dare to get too close. It is so cold that it makes my heart palpitate. There is a sense of danger. How about we give up? Perhaps it is something ominous that came from underground. Everyone discussed this. Situ Gang remained silent. If it really was a treasure, they might miss out on a fortuitous encounter if they parted here. However, if it really was an ominous object, it would bring trouble. This would be difficult to deal with. Move aside. Situ Gang showed a sullen expression as he gestured for the crowd to move back. When the other disciples saw that he was about to make a move, they quickly retreated. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. After moving back more than 100 steps, Situ Gang shouted and punched. The fist light blazed, and a blazing flame lit up the place, looking piercing and dazzling. The flaming fist light struck the ice sculpture. With it, flames spread out on the ice sculpture, burning it up. No matter what you are, after the ice melts, you will be able to reveal yourself. Situ Gang crossed his arms and muttered to himself. After a while, the flames extinguished and Situ Gang's expression changed slightly. Despite the intense flames, the ice did not show any signs of melting. It was like it had never changed since ancient times. It is indeed an ancient powerhouse. Senior Brother Situ's heaven-burning fist could even boil a lake. Unexpectedly, it did not move at all. Let's go. This is too strange. Situ Gang lowered his hand and said, Never mind, I'll put it away first. When I see first Senior Sister, I'll let her take a look. Whoosh! Situ Gang walked forward and tried to use his spatial ring to store the entire ice sculpture. In the end, it did not work at all. The ice sculpture could not be absorbed by the spatial ring. Seems like it really is the corpse of an ancient powerhouse. Even after being dead for so long, it still has its own power. Situ Gang's expression turned solemn. He knew very well what the complete body of an ancient almighty represented. Disregarding everything else, just the shell alone was definitely a golden the arch bone. If he could melt this ice and discover 1 or 2 ancient the arch treasures, that would be a great fortuitous encounter. Situ Gang took out a piece of black cloth and covered the ice sculpture. He pointed and said, The few of you carry the ice sculpture. Hurry up and meet up with eldest Senior Sister. Just like that, this group of Supreme Sky Sect disciples treated Shao Chen as the corpse of an ancient powerhouse and carried him away. If he was not, he would not know. Half a day later, Situ Gang's group met up with Shui Lingling and Juanxi, and the others in a corner of the dragon burial mound. Sitagang, what are you getting people to carry? Is it the secret weapon of the Haotian sect, prepared for the elites of the 18 demon royal halls? And Juanshi asked with a smile, filled with ridicule, when he saw the ice sculpture being carried by several people. Shui Lingling frowned and asked, Sidu Gang, what is this? Sidu Gang immediately explained how he discovered the ice sculpture and its mysteries in detail. There is such a thing? This is good stuff. Take off the black cloth and let me take a look. What is so miraculous about this ice sculpture? And Juanshi's eyes lit up as he jumped down and asked excitedly. Whoosh! When the black cloth was taken off, cold chi surged out, making everyone shiver involuntarily. Instantly, the many cultivators of the Haotian sect and the Thunder and Lightning Palace were attracted to this ice sculpture. A person who dares to travel with a throne must have had a noble status during the ancient era. He must have been a sovereign martial emperor at the very least. The sovereign martial emperors of the ancient era were even more incredible than they are now. At that time, experts were as common as clouds. Becoming a sovereign martial emperor would have been as difficult as ascending to heaven. We really picked up a treasure. Just this ice that has not melted for 10,000 years already shows how extraordinary it is. Not to mention, the pressure from the throne still hasn't dissipated yet. The more the crowd observed, the more they felt this throne to be mysterious. Furthermore, with their first impressions, they felt even more reverence for it. Put. And Juanshi took out the true dragon lightning whip and swung it twice. He had a smile on his face as he prepared to test this ice sculpture to see if it was as miraculous as Sitsugang said. Blueback. Senior brother and is going to make a move. The crowd quickly moved back, not daring to hinder Juanshi's attack. Even so, they showed some anticipation in their eyes. Hey, what are you doing? This is the corpse of an ancient person. Don't be disrespectful to the predecessors. At the crucial moment, Shui Lingling frowned and scolded, saving Xiao Qin from being whipped. If she really whipped Xiao Qin a few times, he would only be able to swallow the bitter pill when he woke up. No matter what, he would not make a move on his friends. Fortunately, first senior sister was here. And Juanshi smiled embarrassedly. I was too anxious. Shui Lingling, you are right. However, what should we do with this ice sculpture? The encirclement of the 3 demon royal halls is already at its final stage. We cannot take care of him. What if other people with ill intentions discover it? That would be even more problematic. Shui Lingling sized up the ice sculpture and entered deep thought. She found this silhouette somewhat familiar. After thinking for a while, she waved her hand and said, Get someone to carry it. This ice sculpture has an extraordinary background. Just that throne alone is definitely extraordinary. Sitagang, it's up to you. Carry it properly and don't lose it. Sidu Gang's foolish expression immediately changed. First senior sister, I'm not here for this. Cut it out. I told you to carry it, so carry it. Stop being so long-winded. If you lose this ice sculpture, I'll settle the score with you. Shui Lingling left no room for doubt, handing this task to Situ Gang. Just at this moment, scarlet fireworks rose up in every corner of the sky. They were as red as blood, looking very beautiful. After the fireworks rose up, a boundless battle hunger soared up in every direction. The demon royal halls quickly advanced, slowly shrinking the encirclement. Shui Lingling waved her hand, and scarlet fireworks rose up in the sky as well. Let's go. It's time to rendezvous with the people of the other sections. We have to eliminate the 3 demon royal halls before the other demon royal halls arrive. More and more fireworks rose up, looking like scarlet flowers filling the sky. Along with the blood, a strong fighting spirit surged endlessly in the sky. When the 3 crown scions of the 3 demon royal halls saw the scarlet fireworks filling the sky, they felt like it was the end of the world. Half a month ago, the appearance of the Haotian sect and the Thunder and Lightning Palace put the 3 demon royal halls on the run. However, they were still able to deal with them. However, as more and more outstanding talents arrived, the days slowly became harder. When the leaders of the Heavenly Starry Ocean, the Dark Sea, the Fiend Domain, and the Ghost Domain all gathered, the 3 demon royal halls were surrounded and trapped in this dragon burial mound. Furthermore, the remaining 15 demon royal halls had yet to arrive, making everyone even more horrified. All this is because of the shadowless Saber Sovereign. If not for the shadowless Saber Sovereign crippling our factions, we would not be in such a passive position. The winged demon halls, Yi Xian said through gritted teeth. Stop complaining. Let's think of a way. If this goes on, we'll all die here. The fire demon royal halls, Xian Yan said. Don't worry, your highnesses. We will definitely protect your highnesses. The 2 protectors stepped forward and comforted them. To be honest, the 3 princes weren't worried about their own safety. What they were worried about was losing troops and failing the mission. After returning to the Devil World, no one would be willing to lose the position of highness. As they spoke, more and more people gathered around them. Slowly, they stacked on top of one another, covering the sky and the ground. The figures of the Kunlun realm cultivators surrounded the people of the 3 demon royal halls, leaving them impenetrable. A suffocating feeling spread through the hearts of the demons. Everyone felt a huge pressure. Your highnesses, we have come to an agreement. If you are willing to reveal the secret of the evil shadow sword, we can let the 3 of you leave safely. Chu Yang, the Zodiac Hall Saint, said as he stood on a war chariot surrounded by stars, the sun and the moon. Chapter 1423. Everyone knew that the 3 demon royal halls were the vanguard, here to scout out the evil shadow sword. However, they did not know what was going on with the evil shadow sword. What were its characteristics? How to retrieve it after finding it? How to recognize a master after retrieving it? To the many outstanding talents of the Kunlun realm, these were all secrets. Even the outstanding talents of the Kunlun realm were interested in the evil shadow sword. Who could be sure that the evil shadow sword was useless to the cultivators of the Kunlun realm? Furthermore, this evil shadow sword was in the Kunlun realm in the first place. Many people took it for granted that this was their treasure. Facing Chu Yang's accusation, the Blood Demon Royal Hall's Wang Feng smiled coldly and said, "The Sun Palace's Chu Yang, you want to target the evil shadow sword? You are not qualified. Even at death's door, you demons still dare to be so stubborn. You are truly reckless." The one who spoke was the Dark Sea's Sima Lingxian. This genius of the Sword Dao came from the Sky Dome realm together with Shaoqin. Now, he had completely matured and became the leader of the Dark Sea, rising rapidly in this golden age. The moment Sima Lingxian spoke, the many cultivators of the Dark Sea immediately responded. I'll give you 7 or 8 minutes to consider. Otherwise, none of you will be able to leave. All of you will die. Chu Yang said indifferently. Then he closed his eyes and did not say anything, acting like the leader of everyone here. On the Haotian sect's side, Juanshi's lips curled up as he said, "This Chu Yang really thinks that he is our leader. It looks like things are going smoothly for the heavenly starry ocean and he is somewhat inflated. After all, not a single person from the deity Dao Union has reached the Dao yet." Shui Lingling looked around and said softly, "This is somewhat problematic. He is too eager for the evil shadow sword. My master said that the evil shadow sword's demonic chi is startling. If one is not careful, the demonic chi will rebound and fall into the demonic Dao." The crown scions of the 3 demon royal halls quickly discussed countermeasures. We absolutely cannot reveal the secret of the evil shadow sword. Otherwise, not only will we lose our positions as crown scions, but we will also lose our lives. However, what should we do now? This Chu Yang is so eager, not giving us a chance at all. This fellow is just a clown. If any of the crown scions of the Celestial Demon Royal Hall, Snow Demon Royal Hall, Earth Demon Royal Hall, or Shadow Demon Royal Hall were here, how could they allow him to be so arrogant? If it comes to it, we can only leave on our own. Informing the crown scions of the other demon royal halls about the news of the demon sword is also considered a meritorious deed. What a pity! The elites of our demon hall are going to fall here. Look at that Chu Yang. He's so proud and arrogant. I can make use of him before I leave. After a moment of discussion, the 3 princes came up with an idea. Even though they were the princes at the bottom, The three of them were extremely decisive and had the spirit of a big shot. Speaking of which, the three demon royal halls were really unlucky. If they had not been crippled by Xiao Chen at the start, the three demon royal halls would not have suffered such a fate. However, there was nothing to complain about his bad luck. Xiao Chen had also nearly died in the savage battlefield because he made a move. Comparatively speaking, everything was fair. Chu Yang, we promised to tell you the secret of the evil shadow sword. However, you have to promise to let the three of us go, the Blood Demon Royal Hall's sovereign said loudly with a strange expression in his eyes. On the war chariot in the Zodiac Hall, Chu Yang said indifferently, "Don't worry. As long as you tell me the secret of the evil shadow sword, I will definitely let the three of you go. Before so many outstanding talents, I cannot go back on my word. But if you have the courage, then come over. I will tell you the secret of the evil shadow sword," Wang Feng said seriously. Chu Yang sneered in his heart. He was not afraid at all. "Be careful," Saintess Fu Hongyao said with concern. "It's okay. Elder Hong will accompany me," Chu Yang said softly. After he finished speaking, two figures descended from the sun chariot. One was Chu Yang, and the other was an old man from the Zodiac Hall with an unfathomable cultivation base. The gazes of the various outstanding talents all landed on Chu Yang. At this moment, not many people were willing to take the risk. Chu Yang dared to go alone, which was exactly what they wanted. They didn't have to worry about him knowing the secret and not telling them. Just the Zodiac Hall alone would not be able to do whatever they wanted in this savage battlefield. Everyone needed to work together for there to be any hope. "Shui Lingling, what do you think?" And Juanshi asked as he stared at Chu Yang's back. Shui Lingling replied indifferently, "It's fine. Master only said not to let the demons obtain the evil shadow sword. It is not a bad thing for us that Chu Yang is willing to stand up for us. As for what he thinks, that is his problem." Some people, like Shui Lingling, did not care. However, there were also some people who felt dissatisfied with Chu Yang standing up for them, feeling that he was being too high profile. The crown scions of the 18 demon royal halls did not submit to anyone. The outstanding talents of the Kunlun realm were similarly proud, not feeling that they were inferior to Chu Yang. "Brother Chu is really courageous. You truly live up to being the leader of the heavenly starry ocean. It looks like the outstanding talents of the heavenly starry ocean are all convinced by you. It looks like there is some truth to this," the Blood Demon Royal Hall's Wang Feng said with a strange smile. The Winged Demon Royal Hall's Yi Xian, who was at the side, smiled coldly and said, "Tell the old man beside you not to move. Come over alone. Don't worry. The three of us will not bring our Tao protectors." Chu Yang waved his hand and got the old man beside him to stop. Then he stepped forward alone. The three crown scions and Chu Yang approached each other alone, not bringing their Tao protectors. The atmosphere immediately turned somewhat tense. Everyone felt that such a scene was somewhat strange. And Juanshi exchanged glances with Shui Lingling, and his expression turned grave. He extended his hand and made a gesture. The cultivators of the Thunder and Lightning Palace all placed their hands on their weapons and silently gathered their auras. The cultivators of the Haotian sect also drew their bows and slowly gathered their killing chi. Sima Lingxian whispered a few words to the descendant of a great bandit beside him. The cultivators from the Black Sea all held their breaths and focused, preparing to attack at any moment. Clearly, something was wrong. No one here was stupid. From the moment the Winged Demon Royal Hall's Yi Xian asked Chu Yang to go alone, the situation had changed. Demons were naturally crafty. This was not the first time the outstanding talents here had interacted with these demons. However, Chu Yang suffered. At this moment, he was pushed to the front, unable to advance or retreat. He could only brace himself and go forward. If he retreated, it would be Chu Yang going back on his word, being a coward. The tense atmosphere made the air somewhat heavy, making breathing somewhat difficult. At the back of the Haotian sex group, when Sidhu Gang saw the tense atmosphere, the rage in his heart flared up. Sidhu Gang came from the battle realms of the 3,000 lower realms and was naturally fond of fighting. When he thought about how he could not participate in this situation and could only guard this ice sculpture, he immediately felt depressed. Why did I have to carry you back for no reason? Why did I make things difficult for myself? Sidhu Gang said speechlessly as he looked at the black cloth covering the ice sculpture beside him. As Chu Yang approached the three crown scions, the tense atmosphere became almost suffocating. However, Chu Yang acted like he did not know anything, continuing to walk forward as if nothing had happened. Wang Feng and the other two felt somewhat nervous. As they watched Chu Yang approach, they slowed down even more, slowly accumulating primordial energy in their bodies. However, no matter how slow they moved, they would eventually meet. Before everyone's eyes, Chu Yang and the three demons finally approached each other, facing each other. You can tell me the secret of the evil shadow sword now, Chu Yang said indifferently. Wang Feng smiled coldly and said, "You fool, do you really think?" However, right after Chu Yang spoke, a bright golden light suddenly shot out from his body. His body burned like the sun. Boundless heat waves and surging golden light caught the three crown scions off guard. Their eyes were pierced by the light, inflicting incredible pain. Chu Yang charged forward at lightning speed. In the time it took for a spark to fly, he grabbed Wang Feng by the neck and lifted him up. Golden light shone from Chu Yang's palm, burning Wang Feng in incredible pain. All this happened in an instant. The three crown scions had not expected Chu Yang to make the first move. While they were thinking to themselves, attack together and take down Chu Yang in an instant. The situation turned around in such an inconceivable manner. The Fire Demon Royal Hall's Xian Yan and the Winged Demon Royal Hall's Yi Xian felt a piercing pain in their eyes. They retreated in fright, not daring to linger at all. Do you think I do not know what you are planning? I never thought I'd get anything out of you. Chu Yang attacked coldly, not giving that Blood Demon Royal Hall's Dao Protector a chance to save Wang Feng. The dense solar true flame burned Wang Feng to ashes. Chapter 1424. Unlike Xiao Chen, Chu Yang was proficient in solar true fire, and he had been cultivating in the Solar Star Palace since he was young. Most of the martial techniques that Xiao Chen practiced were related to the solar true flame. After advancing to Martial Emperor, his usage of the solar true flame advanced by leaps and bounds. However, in terms of Sun Real Fire, not only was Chu Yang's Sun Real Fire inferior to Xiao Chen's, but the methods he used were also incomparable to Xiao Chen's. Aside from the cyclic Astral Lord, it would not be an exaggeration to say that Xiao Chen was the strongest cultivator of the solar true flame in the Kunlun realm. Caught off guard, the Blood Demon Royal Hall's Wang Feng got burned by Xiao Chen's solar true flame. It would be hard for him not to die. Flames still burned on the ashes on the ground. One could see traces of blood being vaporized by the flames. His death was very unjust. He originally thought that he could trick Chu Yang, but who knew that he would be tricked by Chu Yang instead? Cleverness can be ruined by one's own cleverness. This was the current situation. Wang Feng, who had committed so many evil deeds in the Kunlun realm, died a worthy death. But in the eyes of his Dao protector, this was a gargantuan matter. He was completely stupefied. You actually killed His Highness. The Blood Demon Sovereign will make you wish you were dead. The guardian shouted as he flew towards Chu Yang in a crazed manner. What? A figure blocked in front of Chu Yang. It was the old man from the Zodiac Hall. He steadily received this palm strike and forced Chu Yang back. The Blood Demon Monarch isn't that capable. I, the Star Lord of Zodiac Hall, welcome the Blood Demon Monarch at any time. The old man stood in front of Chu Chaoyun and said in an imposing manner. When the Blood Demon Royal Hall's Dao protectors saw that this person's cultivation was similar to his, he immediately knew that there was no chance of killing Chu Yang, so he quickly retreated. A great battle was about to break out. In the sky, a dense mass of people rushed over with surging killing intent. Dust churned on the ground, and a strong fighting spirit soared into the sky. The outstanding talents of the Kunlun realm prepared to capture the remnant troops of the three demon royal halls, who were at the end of their rope. Your Highnesses, we can't stay here for long. Let's leave quickly. The demons of the Demon Royal Hall surrounded the two crown scions of the Winged Demon Royal Hall and the Fire Demon Royal Hall, protecting them. Seeing Wang Feng turn into ashes in the distance, The two, who had recovered their vision, felt fear in their hearts. Everyone says that we demons are vicious and merciless, cunning and ever-changing. The outstanding talents of this Kunlun realm are truly not inferior at all. Xian Yan rubbed his somewhat piercing eyes, still feeling some lingering fear. Yi Xian shook his head. This time, I've completely failed. I shouldn't have been greedy. The three demon crown scions all had their own trump cards, so they did not have to worry about protecting themselves. Before he left, he wanted to do something big, but he was tricked instead. Sounds of fighting resounded. The demons in the outermost ring had already started fighting with the Kunlun realm cultivators. The huge disadvantage in numbers caused this group of demons to be utterly defeated, suffering heavy casualties. This was the result of the greater outstanding talents watching coldly from the side, not making a move. The phrase, "at the end of the road," applied to the three demon royal halls. The world was like a game of chess, unfathomable. Back then, the three demon royal halls worked together to ambush and defeat the Water Moon Alliance. Now, the situation remained the same. It was just that they were the ones being ambushed. The two crown scions watched helplessly as their subordinates were killed. They felt dissatisfied in their hearts, but they could not do anything about it. Let's go. This time, our three demon royal halls came to scout. The worst-case scenario was a complete wipeout. However, things went too smoothly at the start, so we got carried away, Xian Yan said with a sigh. Yi Xian nodded and said, "Fortunately, we found the location of the evil shadow sword. We made up for our mistakes." After saying that, a talisman appeared in each of the two's hands. The talismans gave off a bright light. After they activated them, a dazzling and complicated formation appeared under the two's feet. "Oh no, these two are leaving," and Juanshi said with a frown. These two had killed many outstanding talents in the Tianwu domain, even doing many overboard things. He was truly dissatisfied with just leaving like that. Shui Lingling was rather calm. As crown scions of the demon royal halls, they definitely have some trump cards for survival. If I'm not wrong, those should be astral talismans that can send them to the astral battlefield. The astral battlefield was now the main camp of the deep abyss demonic world in the Kunlun realm. Once they reached there, they would basically be safe. You want to leave? It's not that simple. Chu Yang seemed to have anticipated this. He leaped into the air and hovered in the air. Then he quickly formed hand seals. Great Sun's heavenly might seal. A bright golden light shot out from Chu Yang's body, and a piercing solar true flame burned all over his body. In an instant his hair, clothes, and body all started burning. A bright sun appeared in the sky, shining down a dazzling light. The light was too bright, covering the radiance of the sun and scattering the clouds for 5,000 kilometers around. In the pitch-black universe, the boundless starry heavens and the thousands of stars looked like bright pearls. For a moment, everyone had an illusion. It was as if they could leap into the sky and pluck down the stars with their hands. Oh no! He locked down the starry heavens. It's over. Are we all going to die here? The two crown scions were horrified to discover that their astral talismans were ineffective. Their surefire trump card was useless. How strong? How exactly does this Chu Yang cultivate? He is probably as strong as a sovereign martial emperor already. When several people saw this scene, they felt startled. They had long heard that the heavenly starry ocean's Chu Yang was ridiculously strong. The various holy scions of the heavenly starry ocean had all been convinced by him and were willing to follow his lead. Now that they saw it, it was indeed so. In the earlier scene, when Chu Yang killed Wang Feng, there was an element of trickery in it. However, this time, he used his own strength to lock down this part of the starry heavens. There was no trickery at all. Capture them alive. Immediately, the crowd's morale soared. Several outstanding talents personally made a move, all for the sake of capturing these two crown scions alive. Kasu. Just at this moment, the sound of the night sky shattering came from the sky. A patch of dark clouds covered the sky and sun, blocking out all the starlight. Snowflakes fell to the ground, and the scorching temperature in the air quickly dropped. A figure arrived from beyond the sky, tearing through the dark clouds and flying towards the radiant Chu Yang amid the wind and snow. Flames condensed, and Chu Yang reverted to his original form. Before he could react, he clashed with this mysterious demon. Bang, bang, bang. The two quickly exchanged moves. Every time they exchanged a move, a loud sound rang out in the surroundings. The shock waves blasted out huge pits in the vast ground, sending rocks flying into the air. The cultivators below turned chaotic as they quickly dodged. The mysterious demon attacked too quickly. The crowd could not help Chu Yang, only able to watch him fight this demon. With every exchange, Chu Yang moved back a step. After 10 moves, Chu Yang had already moved back 10 kilometers, his aura no longer at all. Solar true flame, blazing sun in the sky. Chu Yang roared ferociously. Motes of flames appeared in the surroundings and quickly gathered above his head. Bush, bush, bush. In a moment, a resplendent sun appeared above Chu Yang's head, regaining his aura. However, good things did not last. The mysterious demon sent out a palm strike, and the wind and snow in the air gathered in it. In the blink of an eye, the sun formed by the palm strike shattered, turning into countless fireballs that fell to the ground. This palm strike knocked Chu Yang into the air, causing him to vomit a mouthful of blood. We are saved. The Snow Demon Royal Hall's crown scion is here. When Xian Yan and Yi Xian saw the white-clad person in the sky, their faces lit up with joy. Since the Snow Demon Royal Hall's crown scion is here, the people of the other Demon Royal Halls should be here as well. A hidden murderous intent flashed in Xian Yan's eyes as he looked coldly at the surrounding cultivators. Indeed, it was as Xian Yan said. When the clouds parted, many demon race warships landed in various directions. Many demons flew out from the warships. These demons each guarded a direction, surrounding all the Kunlun realm cultivators. Retreat. Even Chu Yang had been defeated. Shui Lingling made a prompt decision and joined Enjuanshi. Together with Enjuanshi, they led the Thunder and Lightning Palaces and the Haotian sect's disciples to the periphery. Sidhu Gang held up the ice sculpture with both hands as he followed at the back. The ice sculpture was heavy and cold, making Sidhu Gang feel miserable. He could not run faster even if he wanted to. Whoosh! 14 demons descended from the sky, either riding ancient mutated beasts or war chariots as they landed beside Xian Yan and Yi Xian. The auras of these 14 demons were strong and unfathomable, far stronger than those of the 3 crown scions of the Blood Demon Royal Hall, Winged Demon Royal Hall, and Fire Demon Royal Hall. Some of them were like the deep sea, horrifying and suffocating. As Xian Yan and Yi Xian stood among them, they trembled in fear. They were also crown scions, but the 3 of them were far weaker than these 14 crown scions. Chapter 1425. Apart from the succubus demon palace's highness, Yao Manlon, who had yet to arrive, the 18 demon palace's highness were all present. There were men and women with different temperaments. The only similarity was the purple mark between their eyebrows. Xian Yan was somewhat angry. He said in a deep voice, "We already sent out the news half a month ago. Why did you only come now?" The 14 crown scions of the other demon royal halls remained silent for a moment, not saying anything. Instantly, Xian Yan and Yi Xian thought of a possibility. Anger immediately appeared on their faces. Hee, even if I don't say the reason, you should be able to guess it. If you appear so early, the act will not be real, the Thunder Demon Royal Hall's crown scion said with a teasing expression. Another person added, unfortunately, the deity Dao Union's people did not appear. Otherwise, we would have been able to catch them all in one fell swoop. Xian Yan and Xian Yu were enraged. They had been used as bait. Speak less. Xian Yan, Yi Xian, the 2 of you have done a great service this time. You can tell me where the evil shadow sword is now, right? The white-clad Snow Demon Royal Hall's crown scion, Bai Leng, glared at the Thunder Demon Royal Hall's crown scion. Xian Yan and Xian Yuan were dissatisfied, but in the Devil Realm, where the strong preyed on the weak, strength was the only rule. Right now, he could only endure it. Only when he became stronger in the future could he truly vent his anger. It's right under our feet. Xian Yan pointed at the ground below with a displeased expression. Xiao. Immediately, many pairs of eyes stared at their feet. It turned out that this was where the evil shadow sword was buried. Aside from Xian Yan, Yi Xian, and the foolish Iron Demon Crown Scion, the other Crown Scions were all contenders for the evil shadow sword. At this moment, when they heard that the evil shadow sword was hidden under their feet, they immediately became excited. There's no need to rush. Let's take a look at the situation before us first. How strong are the outstanding talents of the Kunlun realm? The Snow Demon Royal Halls by Lung said indifferently. Although the Snow Demon Monarch did not rank high among the 18 Demon Monarchs, he was only a 9th Heaven Emperor Wu. However, Bai Lung was different. Among the 18 Devil Hall's Crown Scions, his strength was firmly in the top 5, and his prestige was extremely high. Aside from the 2 mysterious Crown Scions of the Earth Demon Hall and the Demonic Sky Demon Hall, there were very few Crown Scions who dared to fight with him. He had already proven his strength by defeating Chu Yang in 10 moves. That's fine as well. However, with such strength, there are not many people worthy of me making a move, the Thunder Demon Royal Hall's Crown Scion said lazily as he casually sized up the fleeing outstanding talents. The entire Dragon Burial Mound was in chaos. The formations of the various outstanding talents had already been disrupted. Seeing that all the demons from the various demon halls had arrived, they all chose to make their breakthroughs nearby and leave first. The reason for this situation was because Chu Yang had been defeated too quickly. The panic he brought about affected the many outstanding talents, and no one stood out to unite them. In a situation where they didn't have the advantage in numbers, it became even more difficult for them to break out of the encirclement. Shui Lingling and Enjuanshi's group were quite lucky. The disciples of the 2 factions had always been together. One was in charge of long-range attacks, and the other was in charge of close combat. Furthermore, there were 2 primes, Shui Lingling and Enjuanshi. Their breakthroughs were extremely fast. They were like a flood, advancing ferociously. Without any obstruction, they arrived at the periphery of the 14 Demon Royal Hall's encirclement. However, it was precisely because they were too sharp that they attracted the attention of the few Demon Crown Scions in the center. The Thunder Demon Royal Hall's Lei Yun's eyes lit up. He asked casually, Xian Yan, who are the man and woman holding the bow and whip? Interesting, they are no weaker than Chu Yang, whom Bai Lung dealt with earlier. One is Shui Lingling, and the other is Enjuanshi. Both are disciples of primes and are very famous in the Tianwu domain, Xian Yan answered honestly. With that said, Lei Yun became even more interested. He said, not bad. They should be able to hold their own against me. Bai Lung watched carefully. Defeating Chu Yang in a one-on-one battle is not much of an ability. Fighting 1 against 2 and still winning, that is true ability. Boom. After saying that, Lei Yun turned into a bolt of lightning, tearing through the sky and flashing away. Bai Lung smiled faintly, not minding it at all. Following that, several more Demon Crown Scions could no longer suppress the fighting spirit in their hearts. When they found an opponent that caught their eye, they charged over. Immediately, the various outstanding talents of the Kunlun realm found it even more difficult to break out of the encirclement. Shui Lingling led the Haotian sect disciples and Enjuanshi's Thunder and Lightning Palace disciples. They did not lose many disciples before they broke through the final line of defense of the 14 Demon Royal Halls. Just as the breakthrough was in sight, a bolt of lightning suddenly flashed overhead. Lei Yun's figure blocked the way. Crown Scion Lei. The 4 Moon Demon Royal Hall protectors guarding this place immediately bowed in greeting. Leave these 2 to me, Lei Yun said with a faint smile as he pointed to Shui Lingling and Enjuanshi. The 4 Moon Demon Royal Hall protectors rejoiced in their hearts. This Shui Lingling and Enjuanshi were very difficult to deal with. Even if the 4 of them worked together, they could only fight to a draw at best. With Lei Yun's help, it would be much easier for them to deal with the other cultivators of the Thunder and Lightning Palace and the Haotian sect. Yes. After saying that, Shao Chen led the other demons to charge over. Lei Yun raised his hand to stop him. He looked at Shui Lingling and smiled. I'll give the 2 of you a chance. If you can work together and defeat me, I'll let you go. and Juanxi and Shui Lingling exchanged glances. Then, they waved their hands to get their subordinates to stop. "I'll make a move first and test his limits," and Juanxi said, not daring to be careless. He could sense that this person's strength was extraordinary. Shui Lingling nodded in agreement. The true dragon lightning whip in Juanxi's hand moved like a phantom, extending infinitely as it lashed at Lei Yun. Rumble! Muffled thunder roared in the sky, causing the might of this whip to soar. By the time it arrived before Lei Yun, its might was already terrifyingly strong. "Not bad. Your cultivation of the will of thunder has already reached the peak. Furthermore, you can use it skillfully. You have very high attainments in the technique of layering lightning." Just as the whip was about to reach him, Lei Yun still had the leisure to comment on it. He waited for the whip to reach him. When the whip flew over, an even more intense thunder roared behind Lei Yun, suppressing all the thunder that Juanxi had triggered. Then, Lei Yun stretched out his hand and casually grabbed the true dragon lightning whip. Then he pulled, and Juanxi's entire body flew into the air. How can this be? His cultivation is clearly the same as mine. Why is there such a huge difference? And Juanxi felt incredibly astonished. Lei Yun's cultivation was also that of a sixth heaven martial emperor, Emperor Wu. However, their strengths were on completely different levels. Bang! 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 And Juanxi was flung into the air. Then, he crashed heavily into the ground 3 times and vomited a mouthful of blood. "Let go!" When Shui Lingling discovered that Juanxi's lightning-attributed energy was completely suppressed and could not circulate, she quickly shot out an arrow. Lei Yun's figure flashed as he quickly dodged. He did not dare to casually receive this arrow shot by a transcendent divine weapon. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. After dodging 3 arrows, Lei Yun knew that he was not a match for Shui Lingling in long-range combat. Only in close combat could he defeat his opponent quickly. After dodging the 3rd arrow, Lei Yun turned into a bolt of lightning and charged over in the blink of an eye. Shui Lingling's movement technique was no weaker than Lei Yun's. She moved quickly. Lei Yun smiled as he gave chase. The Emperor Yi shooting Sun Bao could also be used as a close combat weapon. Shui Lingling's close combat strength was extraordinary as well. Unfortunately, Lei Yun clearly suppressed her. What was even stranger was his movement technique. With every step Lei Yun took, crackling electric light would appear under his feet. While Shui Lingling was not paying attention, Lei Yun laid a lightning formation without her noticing. The instant the formation formed, a lightning bolt as thick as a water bucket suddenly shot out from the ground. Boom! It blasted Shui Lingling into the air. Lightning covered her body, crackling continuously. Whoosh! The true dragon lightning whip turned into a dragon and charged over. And Juanxi had caught his breath and charged over. "Little fellow, you are still far from being able to play lightning with me. My will of thunder broke through long ago and formed the innate thunder crystal." Lei Yun smiled faintly. As he looked at the roaring true dragon lightning, he glared at it. Boundless thunder might burst out, frightening the true dragon lightning into trembling. With this glare, it retreated. Then, the light vanished, and it turned back into the 9-segment lightning whip. Lei Yun's thunder Dao completely suppressed Juanxi. And Juanxi fighting with him was equivalent to crippling half of his strength. Furthermore, Shui Lingling was not good at close combat. After exchanging a few moves, Lei Yun defeated the two. They could not see any chance of victory. "First, senior sister, you two leave first. I'll delay him." Sidu Gang raised the ice sculpture and roared. Then he tossed the ice sculpture at Lei Yun. 3 against 1? I don't mind. Ha! What lousy toy is this? Break for me. Lei Yun did not get angry at all. When he saw the ice sculpture flying over, he punched with electric light. A silent crash resounded, and the entire ground trembled. This punch flickering with electric light did not shatter the ice sculpture. Instead, it activated the saber might in Xiao Chen's body instinctively. That blazing saber might automatically spread out while Xiao Chen was unconscious. Be it the Haotian sect cultivators or the demons, they all felt a terrifying aura and retreated. How heavy! How cold! What is this strange thing? The black cloth covering the ice sculpture fell off, and Lei Yun immediately shivered from the cold. He felt that he could not support the ice sculpture with one hand. The saber might that the ice sculpture gave off was as vast as the sea and as heavy as a chain of mountains. Lei Yun quickly switched to using two hands. However, he still could not support it. With a loud boom, the ice sculpture pressed him to the ground. When the many demon crown scions saw this scene from afar, they all guffawed. The Thunder Demon Crown Scion, who ranked within the top 5 of the 18 Demon Crown Scions, actually got pressed down by an ice sculpture. It truly lives up to being the body of an ancient powerhouse. To think that it can still display such might after death. Situ Gang's careless action suppressed a Demon Crown Scion. He rejoiced in his heart as he quickly helped Shui Lingling up. As Shui Lingling watched Lei Yun struggle under the ice sculpture but could not get up, many thoughts flashed in her mind. In the end, rationality triumphed over impulse. The lives of sect disciples were more important than an ancient ice sculpture. Come, let's leave this place. After saying that, Xiao Chen and Enjuanshi decided to break through this final line of defense first. Chapter 1426. Without Lei Yun's obstruction, just the 4 protectors of the Moon Demon Royal Hall would not be able to stop Enjuanshi and Shui Lingling, who were determined to break out. After all, not everyone could counter Enjuanshi and Shui Lingling. When these two worked together, their true combat prowess could rival that of a Demon Crown Scion. However, Enjuanshi's will of thunder had not broken through yet, and Shui Lingling was too close. That was why they lost so quickly. It was not that the two were not strong enough. After fighting for a while, the disciples of the Haotian sect and the Thunder and Lightning Palace finally took the lead to charge out. Shui Lingling and Enjuanshi heaved a sigh of relief. This time, it was all thanks to that ice sculpture. If not for that ancient powerhouse's corpse, it would be hard to say whether they could charge out or not. The combat prowess of the Thunder Demon Royal Hall's Crown Scion was excessively horrifying. Just thinking about it made Enjuanshi feel defeated. Situ Gang said cockily, "This time, you all have to thank me. If not for my sudden inspiration, how could everyone have escaped safely?" What about that ice sculpture? That is a golden emperor's corpse from the peak of the martial epic. If the demons snatch it away, we will have given them a great opportunity for nothing, Enjuanshi said with a frown. Indeed, the ice sculpture was priceless. To them, it might even be as valuable as the demon sword. Only demons could use the demon sword. It was hard to say how useful it would be to the cultivators of the Kunlun realm. Situ Gang scratched his head and said, "I really never thought about that." Shui Lingling looked at Lei Yun, who was still being suppressed. Then she said, "How about this? Situ Gang and Enjuanshi stay behind. The others return to the sect and report the situation here. Let's see if the 3 of us can find an opportunity to snatch back the ice sculpture." Enjuanshi nodded and said, "That's not a bad idea. With the strength of the 3 of us, it will be easier for us to leave amid the chaos." The others accepted the orders and returned to their warships, heading for the Thunder and Lightning Palace and the Haotian sect. Right after this group of people left, Lei Yun, who had been struggling for a long time, shouted. The purple mark on Lei Yun's forehead flickered with light. As the boundless lightning descended, it ferociously tore away the ice sculpture. After all, Xiao Chen was in a deep slumber. Although his saber might was strong, there was no one to control it, so it could not truly suppress the thunderclouds. Lei Yun had been too careless. If he had used his full strength from the start, he would not have lost so much face. The ice sculpture shot out like a meteor due to the great force. Then, it landed with a bang in the center of the dragon burial mound. Boom! A boundless saber intent spread out from the ice sculpture throne. A strong wind blew with the hum of a saber, kicking up a cloud of dust. In this chaotic dragon burial mound, everyone immediately felt this vast and horrifying saber intent. Many cultivators and demons were caught off guard by this saber intent radiation and were sent flying into the air. What was going on? In an instant, everyone stopped fighting. They were shocked by this shocking blade will. Xiao Chen squinted and looked at the center of the surging dust cloud. When the dust clouds scattered and the saber intent was gone, he could see clearly. Ice sculpture? Who's this? Why is it sealed in ice? Furthermore, it still has such a strong saber intent. I seem to have seen it before. Earlier, the Hautian Sex Situ gang carried it. They must have discovered it in the savage battlefield. Earlier, it seemed to have suppressed a crown scion of the demon royal halls. Could it be that the one sealed in ice was a sovereign martial emperor at the peak of the martial epoch? The appearance of the dusty ice sculpture could not be seen. One could only vaguely make out a throne and the silhouette of a person in the thick ice sculpture. There was also the unchanging chill that made people feel the vicissitudes of time and distance. Even when a true expert was sealed in ice from the inside out, he would still have a strong aura. Without a doubt, Xiaochen was such a person. Even through the unmelting ice, he could still feel the dazzling light. From the initial misunderstanding to now, everyone firmly believed in this ice sculpture. The sudden appearance of this ice sculpture attracted everyone's attention. The more they observed it, the more they could sense how extraordinary this ice sculpture was. Shui Lingling and Injuanshi weren't the only ones who had the same feeling. Even the crown scions of the 18 demon halls, who had been mocking Lei Yun for being suppressed by the ice sculpture, could not help but reveal grave expressions. Bai Lung, you are an expert in the ice Dao. Can you release this kind of ice? Someone suddenly spoke from a black palanquin floating in the air. That was the most mysterious crown scion of the 18 demon royal halls, the celestial demon royal hall. The snow demon royal halls by Lung's gaze had already been attracted to this ice sculpture long ago. When he heard the celestial demon royal hall's crown scion's question, he shook his head and replied, "No. This is something that can only be obtained after one comprehended the ice domain. One has cultivated the ice domain for at least several hundred years. I don't think even the solar true fire can melt that kind of ice. My guess is correct. It should have been done by a senior of my Snow Devil clan during the ancient 100 Clan War." Bai Lung analyzed truthfully. His previous guess was correct. It was just that he had a preconceived notion and treated this ice sculpture as an ancient object. Upon hearing Bai Lung's analysis, the gazes of the crown scions of the various demon royal halls immediately turned fervent. They already felt that this ice sculpture was extraordinary in the first place. Bai Lung's words further verified their guess. However, this was actually not wrong. If they obtained Xiaochen's physical body and the cycle throne, their value would not be lower than that of an ancient powerhouse. It might even be higher. Very well. No matter who it is, this ancient ice sculpture must be obtained by my demon race. In the black palanquin, the celestial demon royal hall's crown scion gave off the air of a sovereign overlooking the world. With a few words, he determined the owner of this ice sculpture. Although a few people were not convinced, if the 18 demon royal hall's crown scions had to choose a leader, it had to be the celestial demon royal hall's crown scion. Although there were a few people who were not convinced, if the 18 demon crown scions had to choose a leader, it would definitely be the celestial demon crown scion. This is a senior of our Kunlun realm. We cannot let the demons humiliate him. At the crucial moment, Chu Yang stepped forward once more. Sima Lingxian, who was about to break out of the encirclement, suddenly felt a chill run down his spine. When Sima Lingxian, who was about to break out of the encirclement, heard this, he could not help feeling his blood surge. Hearing those words, Zhang Xian's blood couldn't help but boil. The ancient ancestors had been dead for so many years. Not only were they not allowed to rest in peace, but they were even used by the demons to humiliate them. As a junior of the Kunlun realm, no one could accept this. Go back and help, Sima Lingxian said coldly. Then, he made up his mind and charged back while holding his sword. A moment later, a few more people slaughtered their way back. They were all outstanding talents from various places, heavenly geniuses who rose up in this golden age. Although they were no match for the demon crown scions, they were not convinced. If they did not fight, they would be letting down their hot-bloodedness. The high-ranking crown scions of the 18 demon royal halls watched coldly from the sidelines, not making a move. As the outstanding talents of the Kunlun realm and the demon crown scions fought over it, the mysterious ice sculpture soared up and down, flying everywhere. Be it flames, saber energy, sword intent, palm wind, or lightning, they all landed on it. The ice seal didn't move at all, showing no signs of melting. In the midst of the intense battle, it didn't change at all. However, unintentionally, it would bring out some strong saber might, startling the mysteriousness of this ice sculpture. He's here. In the black palanquin, the celestial demon crown scion suddenly opened his eyes and said something out of the blue. However, the crown scions of the Thunder Demon Royal Hall, Snow Demon Royal Hall, Shadow Demon Royal Hall, Earth Demon Royal Hall, and the Moon Demon Royal Hall instantly understood who the celestial demon crown scion was referring to. Should we give up on this ice sculpture? The Snow Demon Royal Hall's Bailung asked. The celestial demon crown scion's magnetic voice came from the palanquin. Although the demon sword is more precious, we cannot even snatch an ice sculpture. What qualifications do we have to snatch the evil shadow sword? If we cannot obtain what we want, then the Kunlun realm will be looking down on us. Ah, this crown scion is filled with fighting spirit. I was just fretting about not having anyone to practice with. That's right. No matter what, we cannot tarnish the reputation of our demon royal halls. We must obtain the demon sword. All the more, we cannot give up on the ice sculpture. These high-ranking demon crown scions were all ambitious people. They were extremely proud and would not easily give up on the treasures they wanted. A divine light shone in the dark sky. Following that, a bright light erupted, illuminating the entire dragon burial mound. The divine sun commands for all demons to withdraw from the dragon burial mound. Anyone who disobeys will be killed without mercy. Fellow Taoists of the Kunlun realm, accept the medallion of my deity Tao Union, and you will obtain the divine sun's protection. A resonant voice resounded in the sky. Golden light shone down, and the medallions bestowed by the deity Tao Union fell like rain. Who is here? The divine sun Di Wuk is here with the deity Tao Union. Chapter 1427. The deity Tao Union was currently the strongest faction in the Kunlun realm. It gathered all the outstanding talents of the human race's three holy masters, the corpse race, the ghost race, and the deity race. The son of the three holy masters, the corpse race's Xingju, the ghost race's Xie Zishuan, the various sovereigns, Emperor Wu's personal disciples, and many other outstanding talents, all of them shining with glory. All of them could hold their own during the Golden Age. However, one person eclipsed the glory of these people in the deity Tao Union. Without a doubt, that person was Di Wuk. During the Golden Age, Xiao Qin was the first outstanding talent to advance to martial emperor. Among the 9-colored emperor's road, the 9,000 step, and the thousands of mysterious phenomena, he was the strongest. The appearance of the deity Tao Union was both unexpected and reasonable. Logically speaking, if the demon sword did not appear, the deity Tao Union would not appear. However, the sudden appearance of the ice sculpture throne forced the deity Tao Union to appear in advance. If they did not, the people of the demonic world would snatch this throne away. The medallions of beneficence medallions fell like rain, shining with divine light, looking resplendent and dazzling. The deity Tao Union's warships flew towards the dragon burial mound in the sky. Every warship gave off a divine light. Resonant sagely music rang out in the surroundings, giving off a holy and solemn feeling. The deity Tao Union's warships gathered the elites of the deity race, the ghost race, the corpse race, and the human race. The many demon royal halls factions avoided the light, giving up on fighting the outstanding talents of the Kunlun realm. Then, they gathered behind the various crown signs. Overwhelming demonic flames surged up and down, blocking the divine light. Suddenly, two figures descended on an unremarkable mound in the distance. If Xiao Qin were here, he would not be unfamiliar with these two. One was a man and one was a woman. The woman was the Eros Demon Royal Hall's crown scion, Yao Manlan, and the man was the Tianwu dynasty's descendant, Chu Chaoyan. When the two saw the deity Tao Union appear, they entered deep thought. Chu Chaoyan, what is the origin of this ice sculpture? To think that it actually forced the deity Tao Union out in advance, Yao Manlan said with a frown. Chu Chaoyun entered deep thought. It was like he wanted to see through that ice sculpture. However, that ice sculpture did not have any life force. Aside from the spreading saber might, no other perception could penetrate it. After a while, Chu Chaoyun said in a deep voice, "There's an 80 to 90% chance that it's really the the arch body from the peak of the martial Tao." The peak of the martial Tao was a great era that was even more magnificent than our current golden age. The sovereign martial emperors of that era could rival primes now. A complete sovereign martial emperor's body is very valuable. If I remember correctly, there was an auction in the past where a piece of the hand bone of an ancient great emperor was sold for millions of origin essence stones. Think about how valuable a complete golden Thearcha's body is. When Yao Manlon heard this, she was a little surprised. Is it really that valuable? Hee, there are some values. There are all sorts of resources that cannot be fixed. If the emperor's body is complete, it will still retain some Tao rhythm. If I can comprehend some Tao from it, that would be incredible. Chu Chaoyun paused for a moment before continuing. Let's not talk about the monarch's body for now. Let's talk about the throne. In ancient times, etiquette was respected. Everything was done with courtesy before force. Regular martial emperors would not be able to travel on a throne. For this person to be able to sit on a throne, his status is definitely not simple. It is very possible, Yao Manlon asked out of curiosity, very possible what? It is very possible that he was an overlord of a dynasty or an ancient sovereign. Chu Chaoyun thought of some things, and his voice suddenly turned somewhat gloomy. Back then, the first-generation Tianwu emperor traveled on a 9-dragon throne. Yao Manlon did not notice the grief in Chu Chaoyun's words. A light flashed in her eyes as she said, "Then, this ice sculpture, don't even think about it. Even if you obtain it, you will not be able to melt the ice. Even if you melt the ice, you will not be qualified to sit on that throne. However, offering it to Leng Yu is not a bad idea." Chu Chaoyun smiled faintly, not understanding Yao Manlon's feelings at all. Yao Manlon felt somewhat depressed. This person before her completely ignored her charm. If it were anyone else, they would have immediately volunteered to help her obtain the ice sculpture the moment they heard Yao Manlon's intentions. That is our plan. The plan will not change. Let's just wait and see. I promised Leng Yu that I would help her obtain this demon sword. Naturally, I will help her obtain it, Chu Chaoyun said casually as though everything was within his control. Yao Manlon felt somewhat angry. The other party was always so confident, as though nothing could stump him. What if you can't get it? How can there be anything that is guaranteed in this world? Even if you try your best, there will be unexpected surprises. As long as I do my best, I believe that Leng Yu will not blame me. Chu Chaoyun shrugged and smiled faintly, rendering Yao Manlon speechless. At the same time, a group of companions from afar arrived beside Enjuanshi, Shui Lingling, and the others. They were by from the Fiend Domain, the Peacock King's descendant, Kong Yuan, and the Fox King's disciple, Yuan Su. The three were covered in dust from rushing all the way, clearly fatigued. Elder Sister Shui, something happened in the Fiend race. We arrived late, Bai said apologetically. Shui Lingling smiled and said, "It's fine. I thought that you would not make it in time. Now that you are here, it's good timing. The fight between the Deity Dao Union and the Demon Royal Halls is a good opportunity for us to take the Evil Shadow Sword and the ice sculpture." Ice sculpture? What ice sculpture? Bai and the others asked, feeling suspicious. After hearing the explanation, Bai looked at the ice sculpture that everyone was fighting over. He whispered, "Why do I feel that this ice sculpture is somewhat familiar? That can't be. I obtained this in the Savage Battlefield's Death Sand Dune," Sidhu Gang muttered. If the ancients were familiar with it, then it would be strange. Bai smiled embarrassedly and said, "That might be a misperception." Due to the appearance of the Deity Dao Union, the fight over the ice sculpture turned even more intense. The attacks of the Demon Crown Scions turned even sharper. Sima Lingxian, Chu Yang, and the others gradually lost ground, on the verge of defeat. Divine Son, you can make your move now. If you still do not, the ice sculpture will be snatched away. On a flagship surrounded by countless warships in the sky, A few deity race cultivators kept a close eye on the battle around the ice sculpture. On the vast deck of the warship, Di-Wuk sat on a throne. On his left and right, 12 watchers stood respectfully at the side. Right now, Di-Wuk appeared much more mature than when he first advanced to martial emperor. His aura was strong, and he already had the air of a deity sovereign on his face. As Xiao Chen sat there quietly, the scions of the 3 holy masters casually stood below. Xing Ju and the other outstanding talents of the various races all felt a faint pressure. There's no rush. If we don't let these outstanding talents suffer a little, they will never understand their own strength. They will not join my deity Dao union, unable to recognize who is the bearer of luck. Di-Wuk picked up a cup of fine wine and slowly drank, appearing relaxed. As Xiao Chen raised his hand, there was a strange charm to it. One could vaguely see a divine light shining down. Right now, Di-Wuk's deity statues were already erected in the various palaces, second only to Emperor Forsaken. With a thought, Xiao Chen could feel the boundless power of faith turning into a boundless sea for him to use. There was a huge difference between the deity race cultivators before they erected their deity statues and before. The difference in strength would be 10-fold, 100-fold, or even 1,000-fold. The scions of the 3 holy masters, Xingju, Xie Zixuan, and the other peak outstanding talents of the various races that joined the deity Dao union all felt this way. After the deity race erected their deity statues, they clearly felt their strength soar, their combat prowess soar. Although the deity statue was good, they did not know that once it was erected, it could no longer be removed. Why did they feel pressure and even fear before Di-Wuk? A large part of the reason had to do with the deity statue's creation. That's enough. Xiaoju, Feng Wuji, make your move. Di-Wuk put down his wine cup, and a maidservant with a graceful figure immediately came over, took the wine cup, and left. Right after Xiao Chen spoke, Sima Lingxian, Chu Yang, and the other outstanding talents all got knocked back at the same time. The crown scions of the Flower Demon Royal Hall, the Astral Demon Royal Hall, the Moon Demon Royal Hall, and the Beast Demon Royal Hall all revealed expressions of joy. They grabbed a corner of the ice sculpture and prepared to carry it back. 2 beams of divine light descended. Xiaoju and Feng Wuji, the holy scions of the Divine Martial Gate and the White Emperor City, appeared at the same time and blocked the 4 demons. Everyone felt surprised. The deity Dao union only sent out 2 holy scions, and they wanted to block 4 demon crown scions. Chapter 1428. The 4 royal highnesses of the demon race, 3 men and 1 woman, each carried a corner of a throne, coldly staring at Xiaoju and Feng Wuji. Moon Demon Royal Hall, Star Demon Royal Hall, Beast Demon Royal Hall, and Flower Demon Royal Hall. Although these 4 demon royal halls did not rank very high among the 18 royal halls, their strength was not something that Xian Yan or Yi Xian could compare to. Seeing that the deity Dao union sent only 2 people to block them, they revealed cold smiles on their faces. Leave the ice sculptures, and the 4 of you can go, Xiaoju said expressionlessly. The Beast Demon Hall's crown prince had a stocky build. He sneered, "What arrogance! Let me test you out." His figure was tall and his face was covered in beast markings. When he was angry, he was like a ferocious beast roaring, looking exceptionally sinister. His figure flashed as he roared and threw a punch at Xiaoju. The punch transformed into the claw of a prehistoric giant beast. The clenched beast claw looked like a mountain, and an astonishing pressure spread out from the fist. The clouds trembled as if the sky was about to fall. Xiaoju coldly snorted as his aura burst forth. Against this misty pressure, a dull sound of impact came from the void. The sky shook, and countless rocks soared into the air, covering the sky and sun. Just as his opponent's beastly fist was about to reach him, a wisp of golden flame ignited in the depths of Xiaoju's eyes. Boom! A statue of a deity suddenly rose up behind him, and a sonorous hymn resounded throughout heaven and earth. The deity statue grew in the wind. In the blink of an eye, it reached a height of 3 kilometers. Xiaoju gently pointed at it, and the deity statue gave off rings of light, looking like a divine wheel. This added a lot of divine might to Xiao Chen's finger. Bang! He shattered the gigantic prehistoric beast that the Beast Demon Crown Scion had turned into. When the Beast Demon Hall's Crown Prince landed on the ground, he staggered and nearly fell to the ground. Such powerful strength! For a moment, many martial artists had a whole new level of respect for Xiaoju, not daring to believe it. Shui Lingling said in a deep voice, "The celestial race's power of faith is really mysterious. This Xiaoju has already surpassed it by a lot." Xiaoju's talent was on par with hers. She could also get whatever resources he could get. The only thing she couldn't get was this statue of the god race. In a situation where the other party had one more condition, it was not difficult to understand that his strength surpassed hers. No wonder so many people are willing to join the Deity Dao Union. Once the deity statue is erected, the power of faith will pour in endlessly. It would be hard for the Deity Dao Union to not be strong. And Juanxi shook his head and sighed. He was also not inferior to Xiaoju. If he had the same conditions, he would definitely surpass Xiaoju. However, the Fox King's disciple said, there are gains and losses. From the moment he cast the statue, he truly lost the edge in his heart. He will choose to submit to Di-Wuk for the rest of his life. It is impossible for someone who has lost their true self to become a supreme being. Let's see how he does in another 10 years. That's right, there would always be fairness between gains and losses. Furthermore, they will become increasingly dependent on the deity race. In the end, they will slowly be assimilated. Originally, they were thinking of using the deity race to strengthen themselves. In the end, they will realize that they are the ones being used as pawns by the deity race, unable to break free. Bai analyzed calmly. While Xiaoju spoke, Xiaoju fought increasingly valiantly, completely suppressing the Beast Demon Royal Hall's Crown Scion. Even after the Beast Demon Royal Hall's Crown Scion activated his beast transformation ability, he still could not gain the upper hand. It looked like his defeat was only a matter of time. However, Xiaoju still handled the situation with ease. The expressions of the other 3 Demon Royal Hall's Crown Scions had long since changed from their initial disdain to grave. Whoosh! Suddenly, the 3 Demon Royal Hall's Crown Scions roared and attacked at the same time. They ferociously pushed the ice sculpture towards Feng Wuji, who was watching at the side. At the same time, they soared up, preparing to surround and attack. The might of the ice sculpture was clear. Even the Thunder Demon Royal Hall's Crown Scion was caught off guard and suppressed. If Feng Wuji had been careless, he would definitely have suffered a great loss. Fortunately, Feng Wuji did not get careless. When he saw the ice sculpture flying over, his expression turned grave. Deep Earth Black Tortoise. Feng Wuji shouted ferociously, and his body leaned forward. The image of the black tortoise holy beast appeared and firmly encased him. The ice sculpture crashed into the black tortoise image, forcing Feng Wuji to take 3 steps back. Then he sent out 3 palm strikes, forcefully pushing the ice sculpture back. As the ice sculpture flew over, it spun continuously. The horrifying saber might stirred up the wind and clouds. Saber winds buzzed in the air. The sharp saber intent chilled one's heart. Retreat! The 3 Demon Royal Hall's Crown Scions showed stunned expressions. They did not dare to clash head-on, so they quickly dodged. Ha! The Demon Royal Hall's Crown Scions are merely so. Feng Wuji leaped into the air and raised the ice sculpture with one hand. Then he used the might of the ice sculpture to suppress the 3 Demon Royal Hall's Crown Scions. The scene immediately turned chaotic. However, it was clear that the 4 Demon Royal Hall's Crown Scions were at a disadvantage, which surpassed everyone's expectations. The Deity Dao Union looks very powerful. Earlier, Sima Lingxian and the others could not defeat these 4. Now, they are able to suppress the Demon Royal Hall's Crown Scions with just 2. Xiaoju and Feng Wuji are clearly improving faster than the other outstanding talents of the Deity Dao Union. The Deity Dao Union truly lives up to being the strongest faction in the Kunlun realm. Di-Wuk, who was in the sky, had his eyes closed as he listened to these voices. He revealed a smile on his face. This was the effect he wanted. In the fight for the evil shadow sword, He wanted the entire world to know the strength of the deity Dao Union. At the place where the demons gathered, the group of Demon Royal Hall's crown scions frowned heavily. The strength of the deity Dao Union somewhat surpassed their expectations. They were much harder to deal with than they had imagined. Heavenly Blood Divine Finger. A huge scarlet finger with circles of divine markings on it descended from the sky and struck the beast demon crown scion's body, knocking him back to his original form and burying him deep into the ground. The beast demon crown scion's miserable cries rang out amid the boundless dust cloud, looking exceptionally miserable. He probably no longer had any combat prowess left. The other 3 demon crown scions were suppressed by Feng Wuji's ice sculpture throne in the first place. When they saw Xiao Hoju coming over to help, they immediately panicked. At the crucial moment, a bolt of lightning flashed in the sky. The Thunder Demon Royal Hall's Lei Yun made his move. However, the moment this bolt of lightning appeared, a divine light blocked it. The Ghost Race's Xie Zixuan held up his sword and smiled. "Your opponent is me. How dare you block my way? You are seeking death." Lei Yun snorted coldly and attacked at lightning speed. He was like a phantom, his movement technique moving like lightning as he closed in on Xie Zixuan. Lei Yun wanted to use the same method he used to defeat Shui Lingling to deal with Xie Zixuan. However, he underestimated Xie Zixuan's movement technique. The other party's movement technique was like a phantom, mysterious and unfathomable, no weaker than Lei Yun's. In a moment, the two exchanged more than 100 moves. However, neither could do anything to the other. Several more demon crown scions charged over from the Demon Royal Hall's side. Di Wuk waved his hand, and the 12 keepers turned into divine lights and entered the battlefield. All of a sudden, the fight over the ice sculptures became even more chaotic. No one wanted to admit defeat. The demon crown scions entered the battle one after another. Aside from the Earth Demon Royal Halls and the Celestial Demon Royal Hall's crown scions, the other demon crown scions all made their moves. At some point in time, the land of the battle had been destroyed beyond recognition, leaving behind a huge, deep pit. No one noticed that the thousands of strands of black dragon chi in the dragon burial mound were slowly moving towards the battlefield, gathering there. Mysterious phenomena kept appearing in the chaotic battle. Snow, lightning, strong winds, sword chi, and all sorts of other things appeared. All sorts of howls rang out, deafening. Only the ice statue remained, rising and falling amidst all sorts of strange phenomena. Sometimes, it landed on the ground, sometimes leaped into the air, and sometimes spun like the wind. How chaotic! I can't find an opportunity to make a move, Bai said with some frustration. Her instincts told her that the ice sculpture from the ancient era was very familiar. Unfortunately, the chaotic battle was getting more and more intense. Once she got caught up in it, the consequences would be dire. Di Wuk, why the need to hide? Do you dare to fight me? Just at this moment, the second-ranked Earth Demon Crown Scion of the 18 Demon Royal Halls shouted coldly and directly challenged Di Wuk, who was surrounded by layers of warships. Among the 18 Demon Royal Halls, only one person is qualified to fight me. Unfortunately, it is not you. However, if you want to die, I don't mind fulfilling your wish. Chapter 1429. A throne descended from the divine ship, and Di Wuk sat on it. He wore golden embroidered divine robes with magnificent patterns. After not seeing him for many years, Di Wuk already had the air of a major character. The moment he appeared, he attracted the attention of countless people. Why did this fellow not die on his emperor's road back then? Bai said through clenched teeth. Shui Lingling and Juanxi and the others thought the same. If Di Wuk had died on that 9-colored emperor's road, would Xiao Chen have had a different ending? However, there were no ifs in the world. Now, Di Wuk had already risen up. His cultivation was stable, and he forged a deity statue. He practiced the various deity race secret techniques and followed the prescribed order, slowly learning how to become a deity sovereign. According to rumor, Emperor Forsaken intended for Di Wuk to succeed the throne ahead of time, to become the new deity sovereign of the deity race. For some reason, Diwuk did not agree. However, no matter what, he was undoubtedly strong. Just by looking at the respect that Xiao Hoju, Feng Wuji, Xie Zishuan, and the other experts showed him, one could see a thing or two. The Earth Demon Crown Scion rode a ferocious beast of the demonic world. It looked like a tiger but was not. It had a huge body and a long tail like a snake. Black flames burned on its hooves. This beast was called the snake-tailed tiger, a famous ferocious beast of the demonic world. However, this snake-tailed tiger had clearly mutated into an even more ferocious mutated beast. Diwuk, don't overestimate yourself, the Earth Demon Crown Scion said sullenly as he rode the snake-tailed tiger. The Earth Demon Crown Scion rode on the snake-tailed tiger and spoke in a deep voice. His expression was as cold as a saber, and a sharp light gleamed in his eyes. Whoosh! The snake-tailed tiger soared into the sky, carrying the Earth Demon Crown Scion Ningfeng to face Diwuk in the air. The two happened to be below where the deity Dao Union and the 18 Demon Crown Scions fought. Occasionally, all sorts of shock waves swept through the area. Horrifying sword chi, surging lightning, berserk snowstorms, all of them howled in the air. However, the two of them did not show the slightest bit of fear. They stopped at the place where the shock waves swept, as if they were taking a leisurely stroll in a courtyard. From time to time, she would wave her sleeves and disperse the shock waves that were flying over. Her movements were graceful and free. Their auras spread out invisibly, and the two of them began to face off against each other. The sky was filled with wind, snow, sword energy, and lightning. A series of violent explosions rang out, and they were forced out, forming a clear space. Diwuk's fingers slowly tapped on the armrest, emitting a tinkling sound. A smile appeared on his face. Facing the Earth Demon Hall's Ningfeng's demonic might, he appeared somewhat indifferent. If you're not going to make a move, then I'll make a move. The standoff continued for a long time. Just as the Earth Demon Hall's Crown Scion Ningfeng was doing his best to hold on, the Earth Demon Hall's Crown Scion suddenly appeared. Diwuk suddenly stood up, and a 9-colored rainbow bridge appeared under his feet, diffraction from under the throne all the way to the front of the Earth Demon Hall. The instant the 9-colored rainbow bridge extended over, Diwuk's figure strangely appeared. He sent out a palm strike, sending out an overwhelming divine might that pressed over. Sagely music rang out in the sky. When Diwuk's palm strike pressed down, it was like a heavenly deity was making a move. Everyone could vaguely see a huge palm image descending. Ningfeng snorted coldly, and the snake-tailed tiger he sat on roared ferociously. Overwhelming demonic might burst forth as he punched. The fist and palm met, and the huge palm image turned into a resplendent light, vanishing without a trace. Insignificant tricks. After succeeding in his first strike, Ningfeng prepared to continue and thoroughly crush Diwuk's arrogance. Diwuk smiled faintly and said, "Is that so? My palm technique is not even a tenth of my fist techniques. What are you so smug about?" Right after Diwuk spoke, he ferociously clenched his open palm. The instant Shaochen clenched his fist, the originally scattered divine light suddenly gathered into a huge, indomitable deity statue. The deity statue looked like Diwuk himself. The blazing divine might immediately soared to the peak. When the fist light descended, Ningfeng could only brace himself to receive it. This punch immediately made Ningfeng feel the difference between him and Diwuk. The other party's strength was simply too surging, like the sea, surging endlessly and unfathomably deep. Ha! Again. Myriad Heaven Divine Fist, Distant Legend. When Diwuk saw that Ningfeng barely received his punch, he laughed loudly and sent out another Myriad Heaven Divine Fist. What was a legend? The ancient deity race's majestic deeds, which had been passed down for millions of years, were legends. Boom! The Earth Demon Royal Hall's Crown Scion Ningfeng, who was already at a disadvantage, got knocked off the snake-tailed tiger. The radiant Diwuk looked like a deity, in high spirits. The snake-tailed tiger opened its huge jaws and bit at Diwuk, moving as fast as lightning. Diwuk's face sank, and he glared at the snake-tailed tiger. Invisible mental energy entered the mutated snake-tailed tiger's mind. In merely an instant, this snake-tailed tiger became motionless. Di-Wuk smiled coldly and kicked the snake-tailed tiger, causing blood to spurt out and explode. Di-Wuk passed through the sky full of blood, not giving the Earth Demon Royal Hall's crown scion a chance to rage. His fists moved like lightning, punching out again and again. Ning Feng gritted his teeth and roared. Every time he received a punch, blood leaked out of the corner of his lips. However, he stubbornly endured, not retreating. Loud rumbles reverberated in the world, sounding ear-splitting. Space shattered, and the sky turned dark. The sun, moon, and stars could be seen, looking resplendent and dazzling. After 100 punches, the Earth Demon Royal Hall's crown scion vomited a mouthful of blood. He could no longer hold on and went flying back. The Earth Demon Royal Hall's crown scion's right arm shattered. Half of his body was shattered by Di-Wuk. Such a scene was very startling. No one expected Di-Wuk to be so strong. He could even shatter the other party's emperor's body. However, as long as Emperor Wu's heart of an emperor did not shatter or his head explode, he would not die even if half his body was destroyed. However, he would not be able to recover his combat prowess in a short time. The divine son, Wu Kei, is unrivaled. Wu Kei's imposing figure stood in the air. Praises rang out from the many deity race warships. Countless people on the endless warships praised Wu Quebec. Their praises resounded in the world, reverberating endlessly. The light of the power of faith slowly entered Wu Kei's body, quickly replenishing his exhaustion in this battle. This is a little too scary. Chu Yang, Sima Lingxian, and the other outstanding talents were flabbergasted. After pouring all the accumulations of the deity race into one person, poured into one person, Di-Wuk's potential was dug out too quickly, so fast that they could not keep up. Suddenly, Di-Wuk descended and arrived at the center of the chaotic battle between the deity Dao Union and the Demon Royal Hall's crown scions. Then, a strong divine Dao Emperor's might spread out, startling everyone. Then, they retreated. The intense battle immediately stopped. The Demon Royal Hall's people retreated to the back, and the deity Dao Union's people retreated behind Di-Wuk, coldly eyeing the other party. Young Master Celestial Demon, if you still do not show yourself, this ice sculpture will be mine. Di-Wuk stretched out his hand and beckoned. Then, a suction pulled the ice sculpture over and grabbed a corner of it. However, just as Xiao Chen was about to pull it over, he suddenly felt a pulling force, and the ice sculpture stopped moving. Only then did Xiao Chen discover that at some point in time, a person had appeared on the other side, grabbing a corner of the ice sculpture as well. It was the celestial demon crown scion. No one saw how he came out of the black palanquin. It seemed like as long as he willed it, he could arrive just by raising his feet and landing on the ground. Boom! Di-Wuk's face sank. Suddenly, a golden divine light came from his body and soared into the clouds. A strong emperor's might surged out, catching everyone behind off guard and sending them flying. Sovereign Emperor's might. When the outstanding talents of the deity Dao Union's side landed, they felt incredibly shocked. It was Sovereign Emperor's might. This was the bona fide Sovereign Emperor's might that Di-Wuk gave off. He had been hiding his strength. No wonder he said that the Earth Demon Crown Scion was not worthy of fighting with him. Only the Celestial Demon Crown Scion was worthy of fighting with him. It turned out that Xiao Chen had broken through to the seventh heaven, Emperor Wu. A cold light flashed in the Celestial Demon Crown Scion's eyes. Black demonic chi rose from his body. The Sovereign Emperor's might gathered the demonic chi and formed a black pillar of light soaring into the sky. As the two clashed with their Emperor's might, their hands did not stop moving. They both exerted force, trying to pull the ice sculpture over. Just as everyone was attracted by the two Sovereign Emperor's might, no one noticed that a tiny crack appeared in the unmelting ice sculpture. However, it was impossible for the Celestial Demon Crown Scion and Di-Wuk, who were very close, to not notice it. Their expressions changed at the same time. Everyone from the deity Dao Union, heed my command. The ice sculpture is about to melt. Attack and snatch the Golden Emperor's body. Do it. The two of them did not let go, but the same order was passed down. The moment this command rang out, the expressions of everyone in the dragon burial mound changed drastically. The deity Dao Union and the demon crown scions were the first to react. They soared into the air, preparing to snatch the ancient powerhouse's golden emperor's body the instant the ice sculpture melted. Immediately, both sides no longer dared to hold anything back. Strong auras caused winds to blow and clouds to churn, and the sky to change color. Half of the sky was filled with flickering golden clouds filled with many divine Dao Emperor's might. The other half was filled with black clouds filled with surging demonic qi. The ice sculpture shattered faster and faster. In the end, it shattered with a loud bang. Chapter 1430. The instant the ice was about to melt, Xiao Chen opened his eyes. He had slept for a very long time, so much so that he felt somewhat dizzy. However, in the next moment, all of Xiao Chen's discomfort vanished. His body instinctively sensed danger, instantly entering a state of high tension. Without needing to think or do anything, the surging saber intent and 1,000 strands of primordial energy in Xiao Chen's body all burst out at this moment. Due to his instincts, the body's instincts for danger, the tens of thousands of times he had fought in his life, he unleashed all of his potential at this moment. Boom! The scattered ice immediately melted. The saber intent and 1,000 strands of primordial energy all over Xiao Chen's body burst out ferociously. It turned into a saber light as resplendent as the sun and soared into the clouds. In one breath, it broke through the barrier of the sky. Di Wuk and the celestial demon crown scion, who stood closest to the front, could not understand what was happening at all. This strong saber intent immediately knocked them into the air. The horrifying saber intent continued to radiate out. The many demon crown scions, the deity Dao Union's Xiao Hoju, Feng Wuji, the 12 keepers, and the other outstanding talents charging at Xiao Chen were all knocked into the air. Bang! 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 The many demon crown scions and outstanding talents were knocked into the air and vomited blood. When they landed, they blasted out huge pits. Di Wuk and the celestial demon crown scion gently drifted down and landed firmly. However, blood leaked out of a corner of their lips. The saber intent that burst out was too strong. Caught off guard, it instantly suppressed the two's auras. If not for the two being sovereign martial emperors, their injuries would have been even more severe than those outstanding talents. What's going on? Is the ancient powerhouse coming back to life? He truly lives up to being a powerhouse who could hold a throne during the peak of the martial epoch. Even after 1,000,000 years, he can still knock away so many outstanding talents. How scary! I can't control my saber anymore. My saber is trembling. It is afraid. That piercing saber light dazzled everyone, preventing them from looking directly at it. However, the shock in their hearts made the many cultivators in the periphery unable to suppress their curiosity. They could not help squinting, wanting to see what kind of existence the ancient powerhouse in this saber light was. Kacha kacha. Just at this moment, the sabers in the hands of the bladesmen in the dragon burial mound shattered one by one. Many cultivators were shocked and pained. This was simply unimaginable. Such a scene left everyone dumbfounded. Even Di Wuk and the celestial demon young master couldn't help but retreat cautiously. Could it be a zombie? The celestial demon young master frowned and muttered to himself. He didn't know if this was possible. He had been sealed in ice for 1,000,000 years without any contact with the outside world, and he was in this ominous place. However, if it really was a corpse transformation, then it would be very troublesome. It was unknown whether a supreme being at the peak of the martial Dao could suppress a corpse transformation. Once the zombies turned, everyone here would die. Di Wuk channeled his spiritual force into his eyes. His eyes burned like flames as he tried to see what kind of existence was inside this blade light. However, what Xiao Chen saw was a vast sea of saber intent. It was so painful. Di Wuk's eyes were bleeding. He had accidentally touched the core of the blade light. His eyes were immediately injured. What exactly is it? Even after 1,000,000 years, it can still give off such a strong saber intent. What kind of horrifying existence was it when it was alive? When Di-Wuk thought of this, he trembled in fear. Outside, Bai's pretty eyes stared at the saber light, unwilling to look away. Why does it feel so familiar? However, this is clearly a senior from 1,000,000 years ago. How could I have been born 1,000,000 years ago? Chu Chaoyun, what's going on? Far away, Yao Manlan asked Chu Chaoyun, who was beside her, caught off guard by this sudden turn of events. However, that Chu Chaoyun, who always gave her an answer, remained silent at this moment, as he could not figure it out thither. The saber light slowly faded away. After unleashing his full power, using his primordial energy to detonate his saber intent, even Xiaochen could not hold on for long. Xiaochen did not know what happened. He did not even see clearly. He only felt an instinctive threat. If Xiaochen did not use his full power, this threat would harm his life, and he might even fall. Sensing that the fatal danger no longer existed, Xiaochen scattered his saber intent. However, he did not let down his guard at all. The saber light is gone. The ancient sage is coming out. We will know soon whether he is dead or alive. This is really exciting. To think that I can see an ancient sage in my lifetime. However, when the saber light completely vanished, the cycle throne, the 7 divine weapons behind it, and Xiaochen, who sat on it, revealed his true appearance. The shadowless saber sovereign. Everyone went crazy. Many of the cultivators here had seen the shadowless saber sovereign sitting on the throne before. Everyone recognized his appearance. The shadowless saber sovereign wore a mask and sat on a black throne with 7 divine weapons behind it. Only one resemblance was a coincidence. However, everything matched. Who else could it be but the shadowless saber sovereign? You, trying to play tricks on me? Are you trying to fool me? Di-Wuk, who considered himself to be the bearer of luck, was so angry that his clone trembled. Unexpectedly, he got fooled by a living person. The Demon Crown Scions and the Deity Dao Union outstanding talents, who fought to the death for the ice sculpture throne, were all incredibly angry as well. Furthermore, the 18 Demon Crown Scions had an irreconcilable grudge with the shadowless saber sovereign in the first place. The celestial Demon Crown Scion did not say anything else, directly saying, "Kill him." Di-Wuk also said coldly, "Of the people who fooled me, aside from a cripple, no one is alive. Kill him." Immediately, the Demon Crown Scions and the Deity Dao Union outstanding talents flew up at the same time. For the sake of a common goal, they actually worked together. However, while they were angry, Xiaochen was even more enraged. After sleeping for an unknown period of time, when Xiaochen woke up, he found himself surrounded and attacked for no reason. After much difficulty, Xiaochen managed to catch his breath. However, before he could say anything, a group of people charged over again. What was the meaning of this? Did they think that he was a pushover that anyone could bully as they pleased? That was impossible. The previous Blue Dragon King would not do that. All the more, the current shadowless saber sovereign would not. This is never-ending. On the throne, Xiaochen, who had not truly gotten angry for 3 years, got angry for the first time. He ferociously smacked the black dragon armrest with his right hand, and the world started trembling. The 7 divine weapons unsheathed at the same time and headed in 7 different directions, materializing the 7 moves of the flawless saber technique. Void-breaking stance. Pride burst forth with a 30-meter-long saber sovereign, looking as resplendent as the sun. It looked like it teleported and suddenly appeared before the flower Demon Crown Scion. Before this Demon Crown Scion could let out a startled cry, all her defenses were broken, and the saber blade stabbed into her chest. Boom! The saber blade knocked her back and pinned her to the ground. Dragon subduing stance. Wrath flew out in rage. As the saber flew out, it carried the might of 1,000 dragons. Everywhere it passed, a sea of blood surged. After chopping down 3 keepers, its momentum did not decrease, pinning Xiao Hoju to the ground. Falling moon stance. Saber light flickered, and a bright moon fell to the ground. Figures soared into the air, and the moon fell. This falling moon directly blasted away several Deity Dao Union outstanding talents. Shao Chen executed the 7 moves of the flawless saber technique one by one. With every saber strike, there would be a startling, mysterious phenomenon and the fall of outstanding talents. When the 7 moves were over, Greed finished executing the heaven-swallowing stance. This saber swallowed up the attacks of the remaining outstanding talents and demon crown scions, drowning them in the flawless saber Dao and vanishing into nothing. It felt like a long time had passed, but in reality, it had only been 2 or 3 breaths. The 7 divine weapons attacked at the same time. When Greed landed and pinned the Star Demon Crown Scion to the ground, unable to move, no one else could be seen around Shao Chen. They had either fled in fright or were so injured that they could not get up, crying out in pain. The surroundings fell silent. Only the rustling of the wind could be heard in the vast dragon burial mound, as well as the lingering hum of the saber hidden in the wind. When everyone saw this scene, they were stupefied. The celestial demon crown scion and Di Wuk watched all this, their minds temporarily blank. I just woke up. Don't bother me again. Seated on the throne, Shao Chen rubbed his head. Even now, he still did not understand what happened. All he wanted was some peace and quiet. Shao Chen waved his hand, and the 7 divine weapons returned to their scabbards. The throne soared into the air, carrying him along. Chapter 1431. I just woke up. Don't bother me. When the many cultivators in the dragon burial mound heard this, they nearly vomited blood. When people just woke up, they were usually in a bad mood. But this time, it was a little too bad. Of the demon crown scions, 5 were dead or alive, and 3 were severely injured and weak. Of the deity Dao Union's outstanding talents, 6 keepers had died. The others were all injured of various degrees. Of the people lying on the ground, which one was not a famous person? Which one was not someone who could take charge of an area? However, the shadowless saber sovereign defeated all of them in 2 or 3 breaths. Furthermore, the shadowless saber sovereign defeated them all before their heads, the divine son Di Wuk and the celestial demon crown scion. After the matter was over, the shadowless saber sovereign still said such a thing. This was truly infuriating. You want to leave? It's not that simple. Di Wuk snorted coldly and soared into the air, instantly catching up to Shao Chen. Without saying a word, he threw a punch. On the cycle throne, when Shao Chen saw Di Wuk pouncing over, heavy hatred stirred in his heart for some reason. Even with Shao Chen's mental state, he could not suppress this hatred or control it. Shao Chen had never liked such a feeling. His rationality told him that before he could face Emperor Forsaken, no matter how much he hated this person, he could not kill him. However, he could not suppress the hatred in his heart. He had countless reasons to kill Di Wuk. However, none of them could compare to Di Wuk's obstruction on his Emperor's Road 5 years ago. If not for Shao Chen, why would so many people die for him? If not for the deity Dao Union interfering, why would his Emperor's Road be so difficult? If it were the deity Dao Union, why would he still be stuck in this knot in his heart? Shao Chen did not have much time to think. Di Wuk was already charging over. With a thought, Shao Chen unsheathed pride. Dang! An intense collision sound rang out. Pride was blasted away by this punch and was sent flying. The throne moved back, and another 3 divine weapons unsheathed in the air, charging at Di Wuk. In the sky, divine might filled the air, and saber intent surged. Di Wuk's divine might flickered with a golden light. As it gathered together, it became like the sea behind him, rising and falling without end. Under the huge waves, Shao Chen was like a lone boat. Under Di Wuk's storm-like attacks, it seemed like he would be overturned at any time. When the spectating cultivators saw this scene, they were secretly astonished by Di Wuk's strength. No one expected that Shao Chen could exchange so many moves with the shadowless saber sovereign and still hold the upper hand. After 1,000 moves, Di Wuk's aura grew stronger and stronger. One punch after another, the divine weapons were sent flying by him. Saber intents shot out randomly, poking holes in the sky one after another. It took a long time for the holes to close up. Amazing! As expected of the divine son, Di Wuk. He finally stood out at this critical moment. He does not leave a shadow, and the saber does not touch his hand. The shadowless saber sovereign is nearly a legend. I wonder if Di-Wuk can break this legend and push the shadowless saber sovereign off his divine pedestal. Speaking of which, why is the shadowless saber sovereign sealed in ice? I don't know about that. Perhaps the demons surrounded him. Rumor has it that 3/8 Heaven Demon Emperor Wu came to the Dragon Burial Mound. Furthermore, they are not an ordinary 8th Heaven Demon Emperor Wu. They are all demon royal clan powerhouses. I heard that not long ago, the shadowless saber sovereign killed a 7th Heaven Demon Emperor with 3 saber strikes and crippled 3 demon royal halls alone. He went overboard. If Di-Wuk defeats the shadowless saber sovereign as a 7th Heaven Demon Emperor Wu, he will be able to turn the tables. The discussions of the crowd filled the deity Dao Union's outstanding talents with anticipation. In this trip to the Dragon Burial Mound, the deity Dao Union originally wanted to do something big and shock everyone, raising the prestige of the deity Dao Union to another level. Unexpectedly, they ran into this shadowless saber sovereign and ruined everything. Fortunately, at the crucial moment, Di-Wuk stepped forward. As long as he could kill the shadowless saber sovereign, he would be able to vent his frustrations. The celestial demon Crown Scion, who was preparing to attack the shadowless saber sovereign, pondered for a while when he saw the situation in the air. He exchanged glances with the other demon Crown Scions who could still fight. While everyone's attention was focused on this battle, he quietly retreated. Di-Wuk, are you really not going to let me go? Shao Chun wanted to leave several times, but Di-Wuk stopped him. Now, Shao Chun could not be bothered to suppress the rage in his heart. As he sat on the throne, his long hair fluttered about, revealing a murderous intent. Suddenly, a murderous intent appeared in Shao Chun's eyes. He was like an ancient ferocious beast, stunning Di-Wuk. At this moment, Di-Wuk held the upper hand and did not fear it at all. So what if I stop you? I already used all 7 of my killing moves. I don't believe that you still have the ability to fight me. You will be the first stepping stone for me, Di-Wuk, after I advance to Sovereign Martial Emperor. Look around. My deity Dao Union has 1,000 warships and more than 1,000 deities here. Even if I do not stop you, you will not be able to leave. Either submit to me, submit to the deity Dao Union, or become my stepping stone. Choose your own path. As Di-Wuk stood in the golden sea, rings of divine wheels appeared behind him. As he stood upright with his hands behind his back, he looked like a deity. Upon hearing this, Chu Chaoyun, who was extremely far away, could not help laughing. Feeling confused, Yao Manlon asked, Chu Chaoyun, what are you laughing at? Chu Chaoyun smiled faintly and said, there are always some people who are laughable and lamentable. If he were in another age, everything he did would not be wrong at all. Unfortunately, he is in the same age as this one. Who are you talking about? You will soon know who I am talking about. In the sky, when Shao Chun heard what Chu Chaoyun said, his lips curled up. He could not help laughing as well, laughing from extreme rage. Enduring blindly, all Shao Chun got in exchange was these words. He wanted to leave, but there would always be someone forcing him to make a move. Di-Wuk, I am not strong. I cannot compare to Emperor Forsaken or the holy masters of several holy lands. I am still slightly stronger than you. You chose your own path. Don't blame me. While on the cycle throne, Shao Chun stretched out his hand and beckoned. Wrath of the 7 deadly sins landed in his hand with a clang. Clang. The 7 divine weapons turned into streaks of light and flew into the blade of wrath one by one, fusing together. This was the first time Shao Chun merged the 7 deadly sins and used them. The might of the divine weapons immediately soared into the sky. The 7 deadly sins, which were already infinitely close to transcendent divine weapons, now reached the might of a transcendent divine weapon. Transcendent divine weapon, is this your trump card? If you think that this is enough, then you are too naive. Di-Wuk smiled coldly, and the divine kingdom slowly emerged from the golden sea under his feet. Then, it shrank continuously and condensed into a miniature castle that entered his hand. A primordial emperor treasure. Naive? You are overthinking. While holding the merged 7 deadly sins, Shao Chen suddenly stood up from the cycle throne. The instant he stood up, the throne entered his black robes. 2 mutated black dragons were engraved on the throne's left and right sides. The 10 points of saber energy in Shao Chen's sea of consciousness exploded at the same time, producing a loud explosion. Shao Chen's body released a light even more resplendent than the sun. Diwuk's boundless golden sea instantly scattered. When this saber strike merged 10 points of saber energy, a shadow flashed in the hearts of all the spectating cultivators, a shadow left behind by the saber light. Dang! The divine kingdom in Diwuk's hand blocked for a moment before getting knocked away. In the next moment, the saber broke through Diwuk's 9 layers of defensive restrictions and landed on his divine robes. Shao Chen did not know what the divine robes were made of, but they did not shatter. Instead, they formed a barrier that weakened Shao Chen's strength. Even so, Diwuk's internal organs shattered in an instant. Shao Chen went flying, turning into a beam of light as he flew backward. Before everyone's eyes, Shao Chen flew further and further away. Finally, he turned into a dot and vanished from sight, landing somewhere unknown. It seemed like he was no longer in the savage battlefield. Chapter 1432. After sending out this saber strike, Shao Chen felt incredibly fatigued and fell backward. The cycle throne appeared in midair and caught him. The divine weapon split into 7 and stabbed into the back of the throne. Then, Shao Chen closed his eyes and rested. Right now, saber energy was Shao Chen's greatest trump card. With all 10 points of saber energy bursting out, it felt like his body was drained. The mental energy in his sea of consciousness was completely drained, and he felt extremely fatigued. Earlier, the flawless 7 saber technique drained most of the 1,000 strands of primordial energy. Now was the moment when Shao Chen was at his most fatigued. The throne flew slowly, and no one dared to block it. Everyone shut up and said nothing. As they looked at this newly advanced saber sovereign, their gazes filled with reverence. That earlier saber strike was simply too horrifying. If not for the monarch divine robes that Diwuk wore, he would have died for sure. Even the 9 restrictions and a primordial emperor treasure could not block it. One could easily imagine how mighty it was. The many warships of the deity Dao Union instantly vanished, all heading in the direction that Diwuk flew in. The divine sun was the core of the deity Dao Union. If anything happened to him, there would be no need for the deity Dao Union to continue existing. However, Shao Chen's earlier saber strike was extremely horrifying, overwhelming everyone present. No one knew where Diwuk flew to. It would not be easy to find him in a short time. Chu Chaoyan, you knew this would happen long ago? Yao Manlon could not hide the shock in her eyes. This shadowless saber sovereign was simply ridiculously strong. The speed at which he rose was simply too fast. However, what shocked Yao Manlon even more was that Chu Chaoyan seemed to understand this shadowless saber sovereign very well. He was certain that the shadowless saber sovereign would be able to teach Diwuk a lesson. Chu Chaoyan smiled and dodged the question. Stop staring at the saber sovereign. It is time for us to get down to business. Look in that direction. Everyone looked in the direction Chu Chaoyan pointed and saw the crown scions of the 18 demon royal halls quickly forming hand seals under the cover of many demons. At this moment, everyone's gaze was focused on the shadowless saber sovereign. The deity Dao Union had retreated to search for Diwuk, so no one noticed them. The celestial demon crown scion grasped this opportunity very well. Beside him, the thunder demon royal halls Lei Yun, the snow demon royal halls Bai Lung, and the earth demon royal halls Ning Feng quickly formed hand seals. Very few people did not notice that the black dragon chi in the sky was gathering in the direction of the demon dwellers. The demon royal hall's people's intentions were very clear. They wanted to use this opportunity to summon out the evil shadow sword. Then, the celestial demon crown scion would make a move immediately to obtain the evil shadow sword. After the 4 demon crown scions formed their hand seals, strands of black dragon chi in the sky headed for the empty space the 4 surrounded. For a moment, tens of thousands of dragons soared into the sky, black shadows boundless, causing everyone to cry out in alarm. What's going on? Why is the dragon Qi in the sky moving for no reason? The commotion was simply too great. This scene finally alerted everyone. However, it was already too late. From the moment Di Wuk and Shao Qin started fighting, the celestial demon crown scion decisively grabbed hold of this opportunity. While everyone was distracted by the battle between the shadowless saber sovereign and Di Wuk, he started laying out his plans. He had waited for this moment for too long. Boom! A black demon's sword broke out of the ground where the 10,000 dragons soared into the ground. Immediately, a monstrous demonic might was released from the sword. The sky and the ground turned dark. The evil shadow sword. At this moment, everyone knew what happened. It was the evil shadow sword. Only now did someone startle awake from a dream. Too many things happened in this dragon burial mound. First, it destroyed the 3 demon royal halls. Then, the 10 Qi demon royal halls appeared at the same time. Then, the ice sculpture appeared. In the end, the ice sculpture turned into the shadowless saber sovereign. Then, the shadowless saber sovereign fought many battles, dazzling everyone and overwhelming them. Some even forgot their true purpose in coming to this dragon burial mound. Damn it! No wonder that group of demons never left the place where the 3 demon royal halls originally stood. Many people, like Chu Yang and the other outstanding talents who had thoughts about the demon sword, felt regret. However, they could only watch as the celestial demon crown scion soared into the sky together with that demon sword. It looked like the celestial demon crown scion was about to become his. Shao Chen, who had already flown to the edge of the dragon burial mound, was startled awake by the demonic qi filling the air. When he saw this scene, he seemed to understand something. He muttered to himself, "This celestial demon crown scion, what a great scheme. Something's not right." Suddenly, Shao Chen discovered something off. There seemed to be a figure hidden in the clouds where the demon's sword soared into the sky. That figure seemed to have anticipated that the demon's sword would appear and had been guarding this place in advance. If not for Shao Chen's strong spiritual sense accidentally sweeping that spot, he would not have discovered it. Immediately, Shao Chen, who was preparing to leave, thought to himself, "Who is so bold? Who dares to play such tricks under the nose of the celestial demon crown scion?" Shao Chen was too far away, and there was no chance of snatching this demon sword. However, that did not stop him from watching a great show. The demon sword soared into the sky extremely quickly. Even the celestial demon crown scion, who was the first to fly out, could not catch up in a short time if he moved at full speed. However, the outstanding talents in the surroundings only moved now. They were still very far away from that demon sword. It was clear that this demon sword belonged to the celestial demon crown scion. Boom! Poof! The demon sword pierced through the thick black clouds and slowed down. When the celestial demon crown scion saw this scene, joy appeared on his face. He pushed off the air and accelerated again. The instant the celestial demon crown scion pierced through the black clouds, the scene before him so frustrating that he nearly vomited blood. He saw Chu Chaoyun standing in the clouds. The evil shadow sword stuck close to his body as it continued to fly up. Just as the evil shadow sword was about to pass Chu Chaoyun, he stretched out his hand and grabbed the sword's hilt. That posture looked like the evil shadow sword flew into Chu Chaoyun's hand on its own. With a flip of his left hand, a sword box appeared. With practiced movements, Chu Chaoyun nimbly placed the evil shadow sword, which was struggling intensely, into that mysterious sword box. Immediately, the overwhelming demonic might and icy sword intent of the evil shadow sword were completely isolated. Chu Chaoyun's actions were as smooth as flowing water. It was like he had practiced this countless times, waiting for this moment. If an outsider were here, they would not doubt that this sword was Chu Chaoyun's. After doing all this, Chu Chaoyun raised his head and saw the fuming celestial demon crown scion. Shock appeared on the celestial demon crown scion's face as he asked incredulously, "Brother celestial demon, what are you doing here?" "What am I doing here? What am I doing here?" The celestial demon crown scion, who was already close to going crazy from anger, got careless, and his qi and blood surged. He could no longer suppress the internal injuries he suffered earlier, causing him to vomit a mouthful of blood. However, he was so angry that he vomited blood. Blood flew out like swords. Chu Chaoyun frowned and used the sword box to block his face. Blood immediately stained the sword box. After vomiting a mouthful of blood, the celestial demon crown scion felt much better. He shouted, "Chu Chaoyun, I should be the one asking you that. What do you mean by, what am I doing here? What are you doing here?" Chu Chaoyun smiled and patted the sword box. "I came to retrieve my family's sword. Look, my luck is pretty good. It was buried underground for tens of thousands of years, and I actually managed to find it. It looks like my grandfather's grandfather did not lie to me." "Your family's sword?" The celestial demon crown scion guffawed and said, "Chu Chaoyun, I think you must be tired of living. How dare you snatch the demon sword? Even if you are the special envoy of the Dark Church, the Dark Church's churchmaster will not be able to save you if the 18 demon monarchs condemn you." Chu Chaoyun said extremely seriously, "You are wrong. I only took my family heirloom. From the start to the end, I did not participate in the fight for the demon sword. In the end, the celestial demon crown scion obtained the evil shadow sword." "Congratulations. What does that mean?" The celestial demon crown scion's mind was filled with question marks. The other party clearly obtained the sword. Why did he say that I obtained it? Just as the celestial demon crown scion felt confused, the carefree and smiling, seemingly harmless Chu Chaoyun suddenly attacked. His palm wind was like thunder, and his body was like lightning as he landed a palm strike on the celestial demon crown scion's chest. The celestial demon crown scion's body quickly pierced through the black clouds and flew down. The demonic clouds in the sky gathered at his chest, its might overwhelming. The mysterious phenomenon was startling. "We obtained it. This is the mysterious phenomenon of the demon's sword recognizing a master." The crown scions of the 18 demon royal halls and the group of cultivators all smiled in wild joy. Although there were many twists and turns along the way, with all sorts of incidents happening, they still managed to obtain the most important evil shadow sword. Chapter 1433. Everyone from the Devil Hall laughed. Only the celestial devil young lord who was in midair was crying. He took out an item from his bosom. It was a small sword. The body of the sword was engraved with a mysterious formation. It was very exquisite, but it was just an ordinary small sword. In the demon world, it was known as the demon guiding sword. It was specially used to absorb demon chi. This demon guiding sword had clearly been specially refined. The effect of absorbing and restraining demonic chi was startling. It sucked in all the demonic chi in the sky. The celestial demon crown scion, who was holding the demon guiding sword, had an exceptionally sullen expression. He finally understood why Chu Chaoyun said that he had obtained the demon sword. This was akin to making him a scapegoat. Seeing such a huge phenomenon, he was also the person closest to the demon sword. Everyone probably believed that he, the celestial demon crown scion, had taken the evil shadow sword. Even if they wanted to, they would not be able to retort. Looking up at the sky, Chu Chaoyun was nowhere to be seen. He had already disappeared without a trace. Damn it! The celestial demon young master held the demon guiding sword as his fists trembled. This was the first time he had been played so badly. After a while, he calmed down and said coldly, "Chu Chaoyun, I will definitely settle this score with you." The debt had to be settled, but not now. At this moment, everyone thought that he was the one who had taken the demon sword. The various cultivators of the Kunlun realm were currently chasing after him. Soon, the people of the Deity Dao Union would arrive as well. If Xiaochen wanted to leave, the further he went, the better. The people of the demon royal halls would not believe that he did not obtain the evil shadow sword. All the more, the people of the Kunlun realm would not. His explanation was of no use at all. Chu Chaoyun's move was too brilliant. He casually snatched the demon sword and then left silently, as if he had never existed. He placed all the pressure on the celestial demon young master. In a few flashes, the celestial demon crown scion returned to the place where the many demon crown scions were gathered. How is it? Did you obtain the evil shadow sword? The many demon crown scions asked in anticipation. The celestial demon young master said with a sullen face, "If I say that I didn't get it, would you believe me? How can that be? We saw you and the evil shadow sword pass through the clouds one after another. When you came down, the demonic clouds entered your body. Isn't that the mysterious phenomenon of the evil shadow sword recognizing a master? Young master celestial demon, are you trying to go back on your word? We can even let you have the evil shadow sword. However, the benefits that you promised are far inferior to the evil shadow sword." The many demon crown scions clearly did not believe him. They even felt that the other party was trying to go back on his promise. The celestial demon young master smiled bitterly in his heart. He seemed to be the scapegoat for sure, but he had to tell the truth. Not only had Xiao Chen been angered to the point of vomiting blood by Chu Chaoyun, but he had also snatched away the evil shadow sword. He really could not bring himself to say it. It wasn't just because of his pride. More importantly, it was a huge blow to his prestige. The celestial demon young master did his best to squeeze out a smile. "I'm just joking. I've already obtained the demon sword. Let's prepare to retreat and return to the astral battlefield first. When we arrive at the devil world, I will fulfill all the promises I made to you." Congratulations, the might of the evil shadow sword is still somewhat lacking compared to the inheritance of a ruler weapon. With the evil shadow sword, when young master celestial demon young master ascends to the position of demon monarch in the future, unifying our 18 demonic worlds will be even smoother. The various congratulatory words were like sharp swords stabbing into the celestial demon young master's heart. Despite the incredible pain, he had to squeeze out a smile. Only the celestial demon young master understood the pain. After chatting for a while, the demon crown scions started to gather the factions of their respective demon royal halls, preparing to leave the Kunlun realm. Since the demon crown scions rushed to the Kunlun realm, they naturally thought of a way to retreat. The demon crown scions attacked at the same time, striking the ground under their feet. The ground instantly shattered, revealing a huge, deep pit with the corpse of an ancient demon monarch standing in it. The corpse had already rotted long ago, leaving only a pile of bones. Demonic chi mixed with the corpse, producing an unpleasant stench. "Sorry for the offense." The celestial demon young master bowed slightly, and a talisman appeared in his hand. This was the extremely precious corpse guiding talisman. As long as the talisman was shot into the corpse, it could temporarily control the corpse, allowing it to erupt with 1/10 of its combat prowess. Even if the ancient demon monarch only had 1/10 of its strength, it would be enough to create enough chaos for them to leave easily. Go. The demon monarch skeleton expanded in the air and became as large as a small mountain, blocking the many Kunlun realm cultivators chasing after the demon royal halls. Many demon hall demons took the opportunity to board the warships and soar into the clouds, flying towards the outer realm. When they reached the starry sky, there was someone to receive them. It was as if they were safe. It was a perfect plan. Unfortunately, he did not obtain the evil shadow sword. Elder Sister Lingling, did you see the shadowless saber sovereign? Where did he go? Bai had been paying attention to the shadowless saber sovereign, ignoring the chaotic situation. Shui Lingling watched as the people of the demon hall calmly retreated. Her heart was burning with anxiety. When Xiao Chen heard Bai's question, he quickly looked around. However, he discovered that the shadowless saber sovereign was long gone. "Let's leave this place first. The demon monarch's corpse will explode soon. If we don't leave now, we will all be buried here." And Juanshi said somewhat anxiously as he watched the demon monarch corpse in the distance swell up even more. Without any hesitation, he urged the others to leave. This battle started by the evil shadow sword finally came to an end, allowing everyone to broaden their horizons. Nearly all the famous outstanding talents of this golden age were here. The competition between the Kunlun realm's outstanding talents and the demonic world's demons was more or less equal. No one gained much of an advantage. However, when the later generations mentioned this matter that was destined to be passed down through the ages, the one they talked about the most would not be Di Wuk or the celestial demon crown scion. It would be the shadowless Saber Sovereign. After this battle, no one would doubt the shadowless Saber Sovereign's possession of the Saber Sovereign Medallion. The title of Saber Sovereign was well-deserved. Wu Xiaotian was not wrong to hand over the Saber Sovereign Medallion. But what no one knew was that in this gathering of wind and clouds, there was a person who came and left quietly. This person angered the celestial demon crown scion to the point of vomiting blood. This person easily snatched away the evil shadow sword, becoming the biggest winner. Compared to the shadowless Saber Sovereign, this person was like a shadow, unknown to others. At this moment, this person was calmly rushing to the rendezvous point with Yao Manlan while carrying the sword box. Seeing the sword box in Xiao Chen's hand, Yao Manlan asked in disbelief, "You really obtained the evil shadow sword?" Chu Chaoyun smiled faintly and opened a small opening in the sword box, revealing half of the evil shadow sword. Then he quickly closed it. Yao Manlan revealed an expression of wild joy. She stretched out her hand, wanting to take the sword box. Chu Chaoyun gently put it away and carried it on his back. "This is for Leng Yu, not for you. If you don't want to give it to me, then so be it. Even if you give it to me, it would be a gift to Master," Yao Manlan said unhappily. However, even when she was angry, her face was still very alluring, causing one to have wild thoughts. However, Chu Chaoyun was not interested in her at all. He was not tempted by her ever-present charm at all. However, suddenly his expression changed slightly, not giving Yao Manlan any time to think. After dragging her for 1,000 meters, he finally turned around. "What?" Yao Manlan felt dissatisfied. However, when she turned her head and saw the scene in front, she was so frightened that she retreated another 1,000 meters. At some point in time, a throne had landed in front. A person sat on the throne, holding a sheathed saber in his right hand as he stood upright on the ground. Although this person sat there casually, he could not hide the air of kingship he exuded. As Xiao Chen's long hair fluttered, he let his aura drift casually in this strong wind. Clang! 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 The indistinct clanging of sabers and swords clashing in the air rang out. It was like someone was moving around in the air. Under such an aura, Yao Manlan found it extremely difficult to breathe, so she moved back again. Her heart pounded heavily. Why did the shadowless Saber Sovereign chase after her at this moment? The main reason was because of the earlier scene of Xiao Chen defeating the many outstanding talents of the deity Dao Union and the demon royal halls with a wave of his hand. That was too great a shadow in her heart. Otherwise, she would not be so afraid of the shadowless Saber Sovereign. Yao Manlan thought of something, and her expression changed slightly. Could he be here for the evil shadow sword? If that were true, would Chu Chaoyun be a match for the shadowless Saber Sovereign? Chapter 1434. Good move. Not only did you obtain the evil shadow sword, but you also made the celestial demon crown scion a scapegoat. Chu Chaoyun, your style of doing things has not changed at all. Xiao Chen said softly with a faint smile under the mask. When Xiao Chen collected the 7 thrones and the cycle first appeared, he seemed to have seen his fate. At the end of his fate, he seemed to have an unavoidable battle with Chu Chaoyun. The other party stood in the sky and controlled the 3,000 lower realms. When the sword swept through the air, he said that 10,000 years was a cycle. Chu Chaoyun smiled and said, "I think so. There is no need for you to be alarmed. Why did you chase after me? Are you here to snatch the evil shadow sword?" Xiao Chen shook his head and said, "I am not interested in the evil shadow sword. The symbolic meaning of this sword is greater than its actual meaning. I believe that you should not be interested in it either. Why do you want to get involved?" "Not interested? It looks like I made this trip for nothing. In that case, I'll be leaving. This is the Kunlun realm's interior. I really do not have the time to chat with you." When Chu Chaoyun heard that, he smiled faintly and turned to leave. Clang. Pride flew out of its scabbard and landed in front of Chu Chaoyun after he turned around, blocking his path. "Why the rush? I came here only to ask you one thing. Why did you go through all this trouble, insisting on fighting me? You said that 10,000 years is a cycle. However, what does the grudges from 10,000 years ago have to do with us?" Why do you have to live so bitterly? Xiao Qin asked unhurriedly from the cycle throne. Then, his expression suddenly turned grave. When Chu Chaoyun heard that, his expression changed slightly. His previously calm expression wavered somewhat. When did I say that to you? 10,000 years is a cycle. How did you know that? Who told you that you went to the Blue Dragon Palace? That's not right. If you dare to go to the Blue Dragon Palace now, any one of the primes can smack you to death. Chu Chaoyun muttered to himself. After analyzing the situation for a while, he still could not figure it out, filled with doubts. You did indeed tell me that. However, it is not now but in the future. By coincidence, I managed to catch a glimpse of my fate in the Kunlun realm. At the end of my fate, you personally told me that. Xiao Qin told the other party the truth, not intending to hide anything. In the distance, Yao Manlan pricked up her ears, but she was confused by what she heard, unable to understand what was going on. However, there were also those who understood. It turned out that this Chu Chaoyun and the mysterious shadowless Saber Sovereign were old acquaintances. Furthermore, the shadowless Saber Sovereign was not here for the evil Shadow Sword. With this, Xiao Qin heaved a sigh of relief. When Chu Chaoyun heard the word fate, he felt somewhat disappointed and frustrated. He smiled bitterly and said, Fate? That's right. This is our fate. It was already decided 10,000 years ago. Our goal has always been the same. We've been waiting for an opportunity that only comes once every 10,000 years. However, in the end, only one person will be able to obtain this opportunity. Xiao Qin said softly, I never believe in fate. If possible, I am willing to give this opportunity to you. Chu Chaoyun laughed and said, Give it to me? If you give it to me, where are you going to find Lu Ruyue? You cannot give up this opportunity. Cultivate well and get out of this war chariot as soon as possible. Otherwise, you might not even be able to withstand a single sword strike from me. As soon as he finished speaking, a pupil appeared in the depths of Chu Chaoyun's eyes. A slit opened in his dual heart pupils, and a strand of pure primal chaos aura spread out, lingering in his eyes. It manifested a boundless universe and a myriad of stars, flickering and extinguishing. Pride, which was stuck behind Xiao Qin, seemed to have received a heavy blow. After a dull thud, it flew out and landed behind the cycle throne. You've consumed too much energy, and your combat power is less than 50%. I won't fight you. The next time we meet, I will take away the origin of the Blue Dragon Palace's heavenly fire. Until next time. After knocking away Pride, who was blocking his way, Chu Chaoyun landed beside Yao Manlan and quickly carried her away. As Xiao Qin watched Chu Chaoyun leave, he entered deep thought. Chu Chaoyun had already told him what that opportunity was. That opportunity was to leave this abandoned land and pursue a higher path of the martial Tao. Was it really that difficult to leave the abandoned land? However, this was not the time to think about this. Based on the strength that Chu Chaoyun displayed earlier, he had already comprehended the state of primal chaos and could already use it. Xiao Qin needed to find the cycle arts quickly, merge the 7 states, and comprehend the state of cycle. Otherwise, he might not be able to block Chu Chaoyun. I need to find a place to recover my strength first. The savage battlefield was vast and boundless. Finding a hidden place was not difficult. After a while, Xiao Qin landed in a spacious valley. He took out 2 essence stones from the war chariot and closed his eyes to circulate the purple thunder divine incantation. When Xiao Qin finished absorbing the 2 essence stones, his primordial energy had nearly recovered to its peak. However, the mental energy in his sea of consciousness had not completely recovered yet. Opening his eyes, Xiao Qin opened his palm, and the heavenly snow divine flame slowly surged out. There was a painting in his palm. The beautiful mountains and rivers was a shrunken space. Snowflakes drifted down between his palm, and a cold wind blew. The snow-white flame looked calm and peaceful. Xiao Qin revealed a smile on his face. This time, when the heavenly snow divine flame melted the cold qi, it unexpectedly broke through and advanced to rank 4. Flames were split into 9 grades. The higher the grade of a flame, the harder it was to raise its grade. The primal chaos level heavenly snow divine flame was even harder to raise its grade. Having such a fortuitous encounter was truly delightful. Aside from this, Xiaochen also discovered something else. The 1,000 strands of primordial energy in his heart of an emperor had undergone the cleansing of the ice. The density of the primordial energy vaguely increased significantly. The 1,000 strands of primordial energy were originally just a long, blurry line. Now they took the vague form of a dragon. It seemed like if Xiaochen continued refining them, these 1,000 strands of primordial energy could all take the form of a dragon. Primordial energy turning into a dragon was something only a prime could do. However, a prime's primordial energy had at least 10,000 strands. In comparison, Xiaochen was far from comparable. Even if it really turned into a dragon, he would find it hard to defeat a prime. Xiaochen withdrew the heavenly snow divine flame into his palm and took out the saber sovereign medallion. Xiaochen's primordial energy had improved again. He wanted to try and see if he could push open that door. He sent his spiritual sense into it. Soon, Xiaochen entered that wondrous void world. A majestic palace exuding an ancient aura stood in front. The doors were tightly shut. This made it so that no one could see what was inside. This made them even more curious. Xiaochen was no exception. He was very curious about the scene behind the doors. "You're here." The item spirit, Qing Yun, appeared from nowhere with a smile on her face. "However, I want to try and see if I can push open this door." Nodding, Xiaochen did not say anything more. He circulated his energy, stepped forward, and soared into the air. Then he struck the door with his full power. Buzz! A crack appeared on the door, and it quickly closed. A rebound force appeared, and Xiaochen was forced back. The gap in the door only existed for a second, but in that second, Xiaochen saw a lot. There were many statues in the hall, and each statue seemed to be alive. His gaze was as sharp as a blade as he stood there, neither servile nor overbearing. They stood there stubbornly. Some of the statues were on the verge of shattering, but they still showed no signs of collapsing. The statues here should depict the past saber sovereigns. They are all true bladesmen. Xiaochen wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said softly. Qing Yun flew over and nodded. "That's right. If you enter it, there will also be a statue. The saber sovereign medallion has been passed down for a long time. Its history is even longer than you think. Perhaps we can uncover more of the saber sovereign medallion's secrets." "The saber sovereign medallion has other secrets." Qing Yun smiled and said, "That is natural. The saber sovereign medallion is an opportunity that Pan Huang left behind in the abandoned land. However, none of the past saber sovereigns managed to grab hold of this opportunity. I think very highly of you. Unfortunately, you have to leave now. Your strength is equivalent to that of an 8th Heaven Emperor Wu. You are still far from that of a 9th Heaven Emperor Wu." Xiaochen did not show any intention of leaving. He asked sullenly, "I would like to ask if I can open these doors as long as I erupt with the strength of a 9th Heaven Emperor Wu." Qing Yun nodded. "Of course. However, the difference between an 8th heaven and a 9th heaven is not something that can be made up with a few profound martial techniques. The number 9 is supreme. Going from an 8th heaven to a 9th heaven is 100 times harder than going from a 7th heaven to an 8th heaven. In that case, there is no problem." Xiaochen formed hand seals, and his figure suddenly expanded, reaching 3 kilometers tall. This was the Buddhist major magic skill, Dermic World. Chapter 1435. When Xiaochen executed Dermic World, not only would his figure become huge, but his strength would also soar explosively for a short period, reaching an incredible level. The only flaw was that this Dermic World could not last for too long. Xiaochen could not delay any further. He strode forward and arrived before Pan Huang Hall in one step. At this moment, Pan Huang Hall no longer looked very tall to Xiaochen. The doors were only at his knees. At this moment, Xiaochen definitely could not use his hands to push the doors open. So, he excused himself and kicked the doors of Pan Huang Hall. Qing Yun gaped at this scene in disbelief. Over the past tens of thousands of years, She had seen many arrogant saber sovereigns. However, none of them dared to kick the doors like Xiao Chen did. Amid her shock, the doors buzzed open. Whoosh! Xiao Chen reverted to his original form. Then he landed on the ground and entered the hall. Qing Yun was stunned for a moment before quickly following. No matter what, the doors were open in the end. That Xiao Chen was the new saber sovereign and also the master of her item spirit, Qing Yun. The hall was somewhat empty. After walking through a passageway, Xiao Chen arrived at the place where the statues stood. The statues were placed on different platforms of different heights. The first row was the lowest, and the further one went, the higher the platforms. Xiao Chen's line of sight continued upward. There was only one statue in the last row, which was also the highest. That person wore golden battle intent, and his long hair casually fluttered about. He showed a flamboyant expression, letting his sharpness shine everywhere. That person had a smile on his face. His aura gave off an indescribable sense of carefreeness and calmness. Compared to the various saber sovereigns, the feeling that he gave off was the most special. However, one could not think of any words to describe what was special about him. They were clearly all statues. What was the difference? Qing Yun explained, that is Pan Huang. He forged the Saber Sovereign Medallion. He is also the fortuitous encounter that he left for all the bladesmen of the Kunlun realm. Xiao Chen put down the doubts in his heart and asked, did he leave the Kunlun realm in the end? Qing Yun nodded. Pan Huang was born in the most glorious era of the ancient era. Even then, he stood at the peak of the world. He passed the numerous tests of Kunlun Mountain long ago and left this world. Kunlun Mountain? Are you saying that the way out of the abandoned land is in Kunlun Mountain? Xiao Chen asked excitedly. Qing Yun asked in confusion, you already have such a cultivation. Has no one told you that the way out of the Kunlun realm is on that boundless mountain path in Kunlun Mountain? Xiao Chen suddenly came to his senses. When he first went to Kunlun Mountain, he felt that it was strange. At that time, all the cultivators of the various races were there. The stone of origin was also buried under the mountain. There was no end to the mountain peak, and no one knew where it led to. Now he understood. It turned out that the endless mountain road led to the exit of the Kunlun realm. But don't get too excited. That path has always been there, but from ancient times until now, there have been too few people who have been able to walk out alive. That path is known as the path to heaven, but it also has another name, the path of death. Qing Yun continued, even a prime doesn't have the confidence to take that path. Once it's taken, it'll be hard to turn back. To most people, that is a path of death with no chance of survival. In the long history of the martial Tao, from the immemorial era to the ancient era, and then from the ancient era to the current era, how many people like Pan Huang were there? They can be counted on one hand. Everyone knows that that is the path out of the Kunlun realm. However, who dares to take it? Xiao Chen thought about it calmly. Suddenly, he remembered what Chu Chaoyun said about the once-in-10,000 years opportunity. Since the path in Kunlun Mountain was a path of death, the path Chu Chaoyun mentioned had to be another path. Furthermore, the Thunder King disappeared back then, his whereabouts unknown even now. He probably knew that he would not be able to make it to the end of his lifespan. He had embarked on this path of no return. Now that he thought about it, the odds were against him. There was also the cyclic astral lord. This fellow once hinted to me that I would have to walk the path that the Thunder King took sooner or later. So that was the case. He did not dare to walk this path himself. He wanted me to bring him away after I finished walking it. What are you thinking about? Qing Yun asked with a smile as she looked at the distracted Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen recovered his wits and replied, it's nothing. It's just that I did not come into contact with them in the past few years, so no one told me about this. This is the first time I heard about it, so I was somewhat shocked. Don't mind it. It's fine. Of all the saber sovereigns in the past, you are the first to kick open the door. You are also the first to comprehend saber energy on your own before coming in. I think very highly of you. Qing Yun appeared very happy. She pointed to a place and said, let's go. I'll bring you around and familiarize you with the hall. That is the comprehension platform. Although you already comprehended saber energy, You will get twice the results with half the effort when cultivating there. Xiao Chun looked in the direction Qing Yun pointed and walked over step by step. Then he saw a prayer mat floating in the air. Sitting cross-legged on it, Xiao Chun was startled to discover a large tree behind him. It was a Bodhi tree filled with Bodhi flowers. The fragrance of flowers spread under the shade of the tree, inducing one to enter a profound state without even realizing it. Come down. There will be plenty of opportunities in the future. There are still some places that I have not introduced to you yet. Qing Yun pulled Xiao Chun down and brought him around Pan Huang Hall, not bothering to explain. The instant Xiao Chun came down, he turned his head back and discovered that the Bodhi tree was no longer there. Only then did he understand that the Bodhi tree was just an illusion and not the true Buddhist holy tree. This is the 5-element pool. There is a lightning pool, a strong wind pool, a frostwater pool, and a heptagold pool. You can find a corresponding pool for all the attributes in the world. Pointing at a large pool, Qing Yun introduced, regardless of what type of power you cultivate, you can find it and use it to temper your will. Your will of thunder has not condensed into an innate thunder crystal yet, right? If you have time, you can soak in the lightning pool. When Xiao Chun went over to take a look, he was so startled that he took 3 steps back. The small pool was filled with black lightning. Who knew how many lightning bolts were in there, flickering endlessly, not stopping for even a moment? Just thinking about soaking in there made Xiao Chun tremble in fear. He would probably die the instant he went in. The space in Pan Huang Hall was very mysterious. Qing Yun led Xiao Chun around for a long time before they finished looking around. After going around the place, Xiao Chun became even more curious about this Pan Huang. This Pan Huang was truly a genius. To be able to leave such a space in the Saber Sovereign Medallion, Pan Huang simply took great care of the future Saber Sovereigns. No wonder Wu Xiaotian said that there would definitely be benefits to obtaining the Saber Sovereign Medallion. Pan Huang was far stronger than Xiao Chun had imagined. Even the Qing Emperor was not as strong as he was. The peak of the ancient era was an era even more dazzling than the golden age of the present. What kind of existence was he to be able to stand at the peak of that era? All right, now that we are done looking around, it is time to teach you how to cultivate saber energy, Qing Yun said seriously, withdrawing the smile on her face. They finally reached the main topic. Xiao Chun listened attentively, looking at the other party quietly. There are 3,000 great Tao and 800 side doors in this world. As the saying goes, the side doors are not the great Tao. The 800 side doors are not the great Tao. As for the saber Tao, it is not even considered a side door. You should know that first came the sword, then the saber. The saber did not exist in the first place. Hence, among the 3,000 great Tao and 800 side doors, the saber Tao does not exist. Xiao Chun listened quietly. He already knew all this. He already knew this when he learned the saber. However, this was not the main point yet. Although Pan Huang was not the inventor of the saber Tao, he was the one who led the Kunlun realm's saber Tao to its peak. Only after him did the saber Tao enter the ranks of the 3,000 great Tao and become comparable to the sword Tao. Only by comprehending saber energy can one be considered to have entered the saber Tao. Only then can one possess great Tao energy. Chapter 1436. Great Tao Energy? Xiao Chun muttered to himself. Then he raised his head and looked at the other party. As he mulled over these words, he pondered them. Qing Yun nodded and said, "That's right. It is great Tao energy. However, you have not crossed the threshold and have not obtained the Tao, so there is no need to comprehend it now." When Xiao Chun heard this, he smiled and said, "Your words are interesting. Comprehending the Tao is for the sake of obtaining the Tao. Why is there a need to comprehend the Tao after obtaining it? It is like the process and the result. I already have the result. So why do I need the process?" Doubt flashed in Qing Yun's eyes as she rubbed her chin with her finger. Then she looked at Xiao Chun strangely and asked, "Did I overestimate you? You still can't figure out such a simple principle? That should not be the case. You comprehended saber energy at such a young age. Many saber sovereigns did not manage to comprehend it until their deaths. Upon hearing this, Xiaochen felt embarrassed in his heart, like she was looking down on him. Very well, I'll tell you about it. Obtaining the Tao means entering the door and seeing the Tao. Comprehending the Tao is to continuously improve, ponder, and search for the source of everything, all the way to eternity. Before you cross the threshold, everything you think is far from the Tao. The more you think, the more you feel that you are correct. Who knows, you might be even further away from the Tao. After Qing Yun explained in detail, Xiaochen came to his senses. Simply put, one had to find the direction first before thinking in the right direction. Without finding the right direction, everything one thought about would just be a waste of brain power. One might even go in the opposite direction, drifting further and further away from the Tao. I understand. Please continue. Xiaochen humbly accepted. Then he gave Qing Yun a faint smile, indicating for her to continue. When Qing Yun saw Xiaochen's attitude, she nodded to herself. Although he was a little stupid, he was sufficiently humble. If Xiaochen knew what she was thinking, he probably would not be able to smile. I'll now demonstrate what great Tao energy is and give you the right direction. After Qing Yun finished speaking, she arrived outside Pan Huang Hall and opened her palm. A light that looked like clear water leaped around in her palm. How familiar! Xiaochen's heart skipped a beat. The light contained the aura of saber energy. However, there seemed to be many other things as well. Smoother, more natural, and more relaxed. It was not like Xiaochen's saber energy, which came bit by bit. After it appeared, it had to be released. Otherwise, it would immediately explode. Tao! With a flip of Qing Yun's hand, the light scattered into specks, bright and resplendent. Xiaochen was shocked. There are so many of them. Could they all be saber energy? Xiu! Thousands of motes of light gathered, forming a bright wheel behind Qing Yun. Countless saber images flickered continuously. An overwhelming force burst out from Qing Yun's body. Xiaochen felt his qi and blood churning as he was knocked flying. He vomited a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground. Then he looked at Qing Yun. The other party was just standing there quietly, not doing anything at all. However, there was an invisible power, a power that he was most familiar with, that sent him flying. At that moment, Qing Yun was like a god, unapproachable and unblasphemous. It was like a treasured saber forged from bright jade, untainted by even a speck of dust, overflowing with brilliant light, and emitting boundless majesty. Tao! The bright wheel suddenly shrank to a spot. Then, it gave off a bright light. It turned into a straight line, rising continuously as if it wanted to reach the ends of the sky. Xiaochen, who had already fallen to the ground, vomited a mouthful of blood as he got knocked back again. He could not block this force at all. Even if this force did not target Xiaochen on purpose, he could not get close to it or block it. The bright light turned into a straight line and rose to 300 meters before stopping. 100 meters was no more than 300 meters. However, it gave Xiaochen the feeling that it was even more majestic than a tall mountain. Qing Yun scattered the great Tao energy and drifted to the ground. Then she helped Xiaochen up and asked, "Are you all right?" After wiping away the blood at the corner of his lips, Xiaochen stood up and said, "I'm fine. Is this your great Tao energy?" Qing Yun smiled and replied, "No. I'm just an item spirit. How can I obtain the Tao? This is some great Tao energy that Pan Huang left behind. Now, you should know what you should be working towards, right?" Xiaochen nodded and said, "I understand a little now." Qing Yun looked into Xiaochen's eyes and knew that he was not lying. She continued, "Cultivate 100 points of saber energy first before you are qualified to try comprehending the Tao. 100 points of saber energy merge into a perfected great Tao energy. Then, you can be considered to have obtained the Tao. After that, you can formally comprehend the Tao. I'll tell you about the Tao later. Do you still have any questions for now?" Xiaochen thought for a while and said, "You said that there are 3,000 great Tao and 800 unorthodox paths in the world. Can you list them in detail and which Tao ranks higher?" Qing Yun shook her head and said, 3 is just an imaginary number. The 3,000 great Tao means that the Tao is boundless. There are countless unorthodox methods as well. There are definitely more than 800 of them. The Dao itself is not differentiated by rank. It is just that in some eras, some Dao does not have any legendary characters. After a long time, this Dao will slowly weaken. In severe cases, it might even disappear. Qing Yun continued, the Dao is very important, but techniques are even more important. Don't be too obsessed with the Dao. Just like a bookworm, no matter how many books he reads, if he can't put what he learned to use, he's still trash. Xiao Chen indicated that he understood. Just like his previous saber intent, no matter how strong his saber intent was, it was useless if he did not know how to use it. One last question. Is there a shortcut to cultivating saber energy? Right now, I need to draw saber energy from the saber domain. It is very troublesome. Qing Yun frowned and said, I don't know about that. What I know is the cultivation method of Great Dao energy. The meaning behind Pan Huang's words was that Xiao Chen's level was too low, so Pan Huang could not be bothered to leave behind such insights. However, you don't have to be too vexed. There have been countless saber sovereigns in the past. However, there are less than 10 people who are truly qualified for me to teach them. Furthermore, there is not a single person who has comprehended Great Dao energy. Qing Yun encouraged, I still think very highly of you. Become the first person to comprehend Great Dao energy under the Saber Sovereign Medallion. Otherwise, it would be too depressing if Master's good intentions were not fulfilled. Pan Huang's purpose in leaving behind the Saber Sovereign Medallion was to give later generations an opportunity to comprehend Great Dao energy. Unfortunately, after the peak of the ancient era, the martial Dao declined. Although there was no lack of geniuses, no one could comprehend Great Dao energy. Qing Yun had already given up hope long ago. Only when she saw Xiao Chen did her fighting spirit reignite. I'll do my best. Now that he had a direction, Xiao Chen was in no rush. He did not immediately go out to cultivate saber energy. Instead, he went to the side of the lightning pool and entered deep thought. Xiao Chen's will of thunder was just short of breaking through to the innate thunder crystal. Of the 3,000 great Dao, the Thunder Dao was definitely among them. Aside from the Saber Dao, Xiao Chen also desired this Thunder Great Dao a lot. Ever since he started cultivating the Purple Thunder Divine Incantation, he had formed an affinity with lightning. No matter how he looked at it, he needed to comprehend the Thunder Great Dao in the future. Wanting to cultivate the Thunder Dao was like the Saber Dao needing to comprehend saber energy. The Thunder Dao needed to make a breakthrough and obtain an innate thunder crystal. Although it looks rather scary, my will of thunder is just short of breaking through. It would be too much of a pity if I don't give it a try. After making up his mind, Xiao Chen closed his eyes and jumped into the pool filled with countless lightning bolts. Boom! In just an instant, this strand of spiritual sense vanished. Back in reality, Xiao Chen's entire body trembled. His head ached, and his entire body went numb. His teeth chattered uncontrollably. Xiao Chen could only clench his teeth tightly, afraid of accidentally biting his tongue. However, despite the pain, Xiao Chen was delighted to discover that the bottleneck of his will of thunder had loosened somewhat. Again! After the pain passed, Xiao Chen sent out a strand of spiritual sense and entered Pan Huang Hall again, jumping in without hesitation. This repeated again and again. At the start, Xiao Chen could not last even a second. Eventually, he slowly adapted to it, staying in the lightning pool for an increasingly longer period of time. When Xiao Chen made a breakthrough in Pan Huang Hall, the iron demon that he lured into the mysterious lake also had its own fortuitous encounter. A fortuitous encounter that no one expected. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.